Refining a star core dark-light galaxy was an extremely remote galaxy in the Qin Heaven Galaxy. It was even more remote than the chaotic astral river. This was because there were very few living beings in this galaxy. There were even fewer cultivators and very few deities. Thus, very few people would come here. Each major force had only set up a symbolic teleportation point in Dark Ice Galaxy and sent a few people to guard it. Through the teleportation array, Lu Ming and the rest arrived at the teleportation point. Then, Grand Elder Fan waved his hand and a divine force enveloped them, bringing them to the starry sky of the universe at an extremely fast speed. What a shocking speed! Lu Ming looked at the stars flying past him one after another and he was shocked. The Divine King experts were too fast. They were faster than most of the starships. In fact, after reaching the Divine King realm, there was almost no need to use an interplanetary warship. Unless it was a rare and high-grade one, the speed of an ordinary interplanetary warship couldn't even match the flying speed of a Divine King. Half a day later, a dazzling light suddenly flashed in the starry sky ahead. In the starry sky ahead, circles of light appeared. They were extremely dazzling, even more resplendent than the stars, illuminating the universe. Lu Ming and the rest stopped. Everyone looked ahead in shock. It was because the rings of light were too big, many times bigger than a life planet. This is our destination. There's a galaxy ahead, Grand Elder Fan explained. Everyone looked over and saw that there was indeed a galaxy in front of them. At the core of this galaxy was a star. However, this star's light was extremely dim, as if it was going to be extinguished at any moment. There were about a dozen planets revolving around the star. The rings of light were emitted from the surroundings of this galaxy. One could imagine how huge it was. Boom, boom. At this moment, a series of terrifying rumbles burst out from the periphery of the galaxy. A brilliant divine light illuminated the starry sky, and the terrifying explosion shook the entire galaxy. There's an expert attacking that galaxy, Ouyang Qingxiang exclaimed. That's right. There are indeed experts attacking this galaxy. It's the sect heads of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans and some God King elders. Grand Elder Fan explained. Lu Ming and the rest were even more shocked. The sect heads of the Qin Heaven 13 clans had actually arrived. There were also some Divine King realm elders. They were all attacking this galaxy. What was inside this galaxy? Let me tell you. Someone has set up a formation in this entire galaxy. The rings of light are the light from the formation. The sect heads of the Qin Heaven 13 clans and the God King experts will find it difficult to break through. Grand Elder Fan explained. Use the galaxy to set up a formation. Lu Ming and the group were dumbfounded. How big was a galaxy? Someone had actually set up a large formation in the entire galaxy. What kind of terrifying and grand work was this? It really made people exclaim in admiration. Elder Fan, what exactly is in this formation? You've actually attracted the attention of the heaven-raising 13 clans. Also, what does this have to do with us? The Supreme Saint asked. The sect heads of the Qin Heaven 13 clans and a few Divine King elders had come. What did that have to do with them? With their cultivation, they couldn't do anything at all. Don't be anxious. We have to start from the beginning. Following that, Grand Elder Fan explained the ins and outs of the matter in detail. Usually, no one would pay attention to Darklight Galaxy, and almost no one would come. However, a few months ago, someone had accidentally discovered an extremely strange galaxy here. After some deliberation, they discovered that a large formation had been set up in this galaxy. Such a grand move quickly alarmed the higher-ups of the Qin Heaven 13 High School. The Qin Heaven 13 clans immediately sent experts who were proficient in formations to study it and finally came to a shocking conclusion. In the distant past, someone had set up a large formation in the entire galaxy with the star as the core, with the purpose of refining the star core. To refine an entire star into a star core. The moment this news came out, it shocked the majority of the God King experts of the Qin Heaven 13 clans. This was because once a cultivator reached the Divine King realm, he would have to condense a star core. After a heavenly god broke through to the Divine King realm, the divine fire in the body would turn into a star core. A star nucleus was the core of a star, and it contained boundless power. However, the core of a king god realm star was still very fragile and small. It couldn't be compared to the core of a star. Someone actually wanted to refine a star into a star core. A star core refined from a star was definitely a priceless treasure. If a god king could obtain it, his cultivation would definitely advance by leaps and bounds. Moreover, some formation masters had already concluded that this formation had been set up for a very long time. The star had almost been refined, and the star core had been successfully refined. It would be strange if those god kings were not tempted. If they could obtain a star core, their cultivation would advance by leaps and bounds. They would then be able to suppress the other god kings and dominate the Qin Heaven Star realm. Hence, the sect heads of the Qin Heaven 13 clans and many other god kings descended in an attempt to fight for the star core. However, they were blocked by the formation of the galaxy. After a few months of attacks, many experts were unable to break through the formation and enter the galaxy. After the research of many array masters, it was estimated that only the prodigies of the younger generation could enter this galaxy. This was because the formation had been specially set up. If one's age exceeded a certain range, they would not be able to enter at all. That was why they had gathered them together. It's not just our Kong Xian sect. The top geniuses of the other forces have all been gathered. However, the sect leaders and the God King elders are still unwilling to give up. They want to make one last attempt to see if they can break this formation. Grand Elder Fan finally explained. Lu Ming and the group finally came to a realization. They finally knew what had happened. At the front, the sect heads and the Divine King elders were trying to break the formation for the last time. If they still couldn't break it, they would probably have to send the younger generation. No wonder all the holy sons and holy virgins were gathered here this time. They might have to compete with the top geniuses of other forces, even the geniuses of the three overlords. Boom, boom. In the starry sky ahead, the rumbling sounds continued, and dazzling light flashed. Come with me. Grand Elder Fan led Lu Ming and the group forward. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. At this time, other streams of light also flew over from other directions. Lu Ming and the rest swept their gazes and saw that each stream of light was a figure. Each of them had a Divine King expert and a group of young people. It was obvious that these were experts from other forces, and they had brought their young Heaven's Pride experts. After flying for a while, they stopped not far from the galaxy ahead. The remnants of the three sects in this area, there were other people besides Lu Ming and the group. There were a total of 13 batches, and each batch had a few youths. The geniuses of the Qin Heaven 13 clans had all arrived. Among them, the three overlord forces, the unique Demon Academy, the indestructible Sword Sect, and the boundless Holy Land had the most people. All of them had thick auras, and their eyes were filled with powerful Qi dynamic. It was obvious that they were all experts, all at the level of saints. However, some sects were much more humble. Although there were many people, and some sects even had more people than the Kongshen sect, there were very few holy sons. Some forces only had one or two. The others were not holy sons at all. They were far worse than them. The geniuses of Qin Tian number 13 were all sizing each other up. Supreme Universe Master, I heard that you were defeated during the Zhongzi competition in the Kongshen sect. Ah, you're really trash. At this time, a loud laughter was heard from the unique Devil Academy. Lu Ming and the rest looked in the direction of the voice. A member of the multi-eyed race. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. The person who had just spoken had 4 eyes on his face. There were 2 eyes on each side of his face, and all 4 eyes were shining with a cold light. This was the multi-eyed race, also known as the 4-eyed race. Like the 3-eyed race, they were a multi-eyed race. 4 eyes Void Court, what did you say? The Supreme Holy Son's expression was extremely cold as he stared at this person. This person's name was 4 Eyes Void Court. What's wrong? Did I say something wrong? I heard that you were even defeated by a new disciple of your Kongshen sect. If you're not trash, what are you? To think that you used to be as famous as me, how disgusting. Four-eyed Kong Ting sneered, his face full of disdain. "Ah, for Eyes Void Court, you're right. Supreme Universe, you're really trash." Someone from the Indestructible Sword sect and the Boundless Holy Land also sneered. This made the Supreme Holy Sun's face turn even uglier and gloomier. Lu Ming, the Supreme Saint, roared in his heart. This was a great humiliation to him, and he blamed it on Lu Ming. It was all Lu Ming's fault. If not for Lu Ming, he would not have suffered such humiliation. Lu Ming, there are some people in the three forces that you have to be careful of. That Four-Eye Kong Tong is as famous as the Supreme Holy Sun. He's extremely talented and powerful. I'm afraid he's even stronger than the Supreme Holy Sun. Ouyang Qingxiang sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. There are also people like that in the Indestructible Sword sect and the Boundless Holy Land. They're all extremely terrifying. Ouyang Qingxiang continued to send Lu Ming a voice transmission. Lu Ming nodded. "I heard that there are divine sons in the three overlord forces. Where are their divine sons? Did they not come?" he asked. "They're all here." Ouyang Qingxiang said, "Did you see that cold-looking bald young man in the Unique Demon Academy? That's the divine son of the Unique Demon Academy, Ojui." Lu Ming looked in the direction that Ouyang Qingxiang was pointing at. As expected, he saw a bald young man among the crowd from the Unique Demon Academy. This person had an ordinary appearance and his aura was restrained. He was easily overlooked in the crowd. Lu Ming had not paid much attention to this person before. He did not expect that this person was the divine son of the Unique Devil Academy, a peerless genius who controlled divine-grade divine power. As if sensing Lu Ming's gaze, Mo Juri's gaze turned to Lu Ming as well. A dark demonic light flashed in his eyes and shot towards Lu Ming like a blade. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed and he felt a sharp pain in his eyes. He quickly circulated his energy to resist it. This person is very terrifying. Lu Ming came to a conclusion in his heart. Mo Jui stared at Lu Ming with a cold glint in his eyes. A cold smile appeared on his face. His lips moved slightly and a voice suddenly rang in Lu Ming's ears. "Lu Ming, you killed the holy son of my Unique Devil Academy in the ancient god world. This is a great crime, and I will make you pay with your life." Mo Juri's voice was cold and emotionless, filled with a terrifying killing intent. "You want to kill me? I'm afraid you don't have the ability." Lu Ming responded strongly. "Hee, you're very confident. Just wait and see." Mo Juri said coldly and did not continue. Ouyang Qingxiang did not know that Lu Ming and Mo Juri had already conversed in secret and continued to introduce them to Lu Ming. The white-robed young man with the long sword on his back is the divine son of the Eternal Sword sect. His sword Dao is boundless, and the long sword in his hand is terrifying to the extreme. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming's gaze shifted from Mo Juri to a young man in white from the Eternal Sword sect. This man was called Wuji Kendo. He was extremely handsome and exuded a terrifying sword intent that was impossible to ignore. Another terrifying heaven's favorite. Lu Ming thought to himself. Sword Dao Infinitum's gaze also turned to Lu Ming. A cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. His eyes flickered like two divine swords, exuding a terrifying sword intent. Even the other paragons of the Indestructible Sword sect standing beside him were shocked. They all moved away from him to avoid being hurt by his sword will. The burly young man in fiery red armor from the boundless sacred land is called Sungyan Pajuan. He's the deity of the boundless sacred land. Ouyang Xiangxiang introduced. Lu Ming's gaze looked over again. It was a young man who was almost 3 meters tall. He was unusually burly and wore a thick, fiery red armor, giving off a strong sense of oppression. The pressure he gave off was not any weaker than Emodrius. He was also a terrifying heaven's favorite. Lu Ming took note of the 3 people. Many geniuses from the Qin Heaven 13 clans came. However, only these 3 people made Lu Ming feel threatened. He didn't care about the others. Boom, boom. Just as everyone was sizing each other up, the explosions in front of them became even more intense. They could see that around the galaxy, circles of dazzling light were constantly shining, blocking the terrifying attacks. After a while, the attacks stopped. Then, streams of light flew over. The sect heads of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans and the other God King experts had returned after breaking the formation. The next moment, 5 figures appeared in front of Lu Ming and the rest. The leader of the group was the sect leader of the Kong Xian sect, Dragon Boats. The other 4 were all founding members of the Kong Xian sect, God Kings. The auras of the 5 people from Dragon Boat Mountain were all fluctuating. It was obvious that they had used up a lot of their energy to break the formation. How is it, Sect Master? You still can't break it? Grand Elder Fan said. I can't break it. Dragon Boat Mountain shook his head. Then his gaze fell on Lu Ming and the rest. Next, I'll have to rely on you guys. Don't worry, Sect Master. I'll do my best to help you get the Star Core. The Supreme Saint hurriedly said. There's no need for you to obtain the core of a star. With your cultivation, you won't be able to obtain a Star Core. According to the speculation of a few formation masters, there should be some formation plates in this galaxy. Entering the galaxy, that's right. The person who set up the array didn't completely seal Lu Ming off. When he set up the array, he left a possibility behind, which is the array plate. According to the speculations of several array masters, there should be 12 array plates in the galaxy. As long as we hold the array plate, we can enter the galaxy without any obstructions and obtain the Star Core. Therefore, your mission this time is to enter the galaxy and find an array plate. You must at least obtain an array plate. Dragon Boat Mountain said. Don't worry, Sect Master, this disciple will definitely do my best. Even if I have to risk my life, I will obtain an array plate. The Supreme Holy Sun was the first to speak again. The task this time won't be easy. The other forces have also sent out all their geniuses. So, I'll give you an array plate, at least one. Of course, the more the better. Also, those array plates are scattered on different planets in the galaxy. It won't be easy to find them. Dragon Boat Mountain said. Lu Ming and the rest were silent and they started to think. It seems that the Star Core is very important to the Dragon Boat Mountain. Lu Ming's heart stirred. However, although entering that galaxy this time is dangerous for you, it's also an opportunity. Countless years ago, there was an Almighty who set up an array here to refine the star into a Star Core. Now that the Star Core is formed, other treasures will appear in the galaxy along the way, such as some extremely precious refining materials, and even Star Core fragments may appear. Dragon Boat Mountain said. A Star Core fragment? Lu Ming, the Supreme Holy Sun, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others' eyes lit up with a fiery light. That's right, it's a Star Core fragment. After all, we're going to refine this star into a Star Core. During the refining process, it's very possible that some Star Core fragments will appear. If you can get a Star Core fragment, it'll be a great opportunity. Dragon Boat Mountain said. This made Lu Ming and the rest even more excited. Lu Ming, this is a great opportunity for you. If you can get some Star Core fragments, you'll have a great chance to break through to the Celestial God level in one go. Don't say I didn't give you a chance. The Dragon Boat Mountain's cold voice rang in Lu Ming's ears. There was a cold glint in Lu Ming's eyes. He did not say anything. Long Zhou's boat naturally did not have good intentions when he warned Lu Ming. He wanted Lu Ming to break through to the Heavenly God realm so that he could be of use to him and help him break the trapping dragon rising to the heaven formation. Of course, Lu Ming was also very tempted by the Star Core fragment. He also had the intention to use the Star Core fragment to break through to the Celestial God level. Naturally, the higher his cultivation level was, the better it would be for him in this battle with Dragon Boat Mountain. Whoever gets the array plate, it'll definitely reward you handsomely. Alright, follow me. After Dragon Boat Mountain finished speaking, he turned around and headed in the direction of the galaxy. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, the Supreme Holy Sun, and the rest followed. In another direction, the other geniuses of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans also arrived at the edge of the galaxy under the lead of their respective sect leaders. The task I gave you is to get at least 3 out of the 12 array plates. Do you understand? The Dean of the Unique Demon Academy warned the geniuses of the Unique Demon Academy. He did not hide his voice and it spread far and wide, allowing everyone to hear him. Don't worry, Principal. We'll definitely get 3 out of the 12 array plates. No problem. The geniuses of the Unique Devil Academy spoke one after another. They were all very confident. Your Unique Demon Academy is quite confident. However, if I don't destroy the sword sect, I will at least obtain 3 array plates. Are you confident? Who are you? The sect leader of the Eternal Sword sect laughed coldly and asked the paragons of the Eternal Sword sect. There are 3 array plates, I must get them. The paragon of the Indestructible Sword sect roared with confidence. On the other side, the Boundless Sacred Lands geniuses roared as well. Their target was also at least 3 array plates. There were a total of 12 array plates. The 3 overlord forces were all confident that they would get 3 array plates each. This made the top 10 sects' faces solemn and they didn't speak. Their appetites naturally weren't that big. Their goal was an array plate. As long as they could get an array plate, they would be satisfied. Alright, you guys can set off. The college chief of the Unique Devil Academy waved his hand. Yes. The geniuses from the Unique Devil Academy replied and flew toward the galaxy in front of them. There were a total of 18 planets in the galaxy in front of him, revolving around the star. There might be array plates on all 18 planets, so they could only rely on luck and randomly choose a star to fly up. However, in the beginning, they could only choose to fly to the outermost planet and start their search from the outer planets. The geniuses of the Unique Demon Academy chose a black planet and flew up. Then, the Indestructible Sword sect and the Boundless Holy Land each chose a planet and flew up. In this way, the 3 overlord forces each occupied one of the outer planets. You guys should also set off. Dragon Boat Mountain instructed Lu Ming and the rest. Let's go to that planet first. Ouyang Qingxiang pointed at one of the blue planets. This planet was not the planet that the 3 overlord forces had entered. The others had no objections and all started flying toward it. The eyes of the people from the other sects flickered, and they also chose to fly down to the planet realm. Some sects chose to fly to the same planet. After all, the surface area of a planet was extremely large. Even if they landed on the same planet, they might not necessarily touch it. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the rest flew into the galaxy. There was nothing unusual. Originally, the Divine King experts would be blocked by the galaxy array at this distance. However, Lu Ming and the rest were not affected. It is indeed effective, the eyes of many god kings brightened. Seeing that there was nothing unusual, Lu Ming and the rest increased their speed and flew toward the blue planet like streaks of rainbow light. As they approached, the planet grew larger and larger in front of them. At the same time, they felt a strong gravitational force acting on them. What a strong gravitational force! Everyone's expression changed slightly. They could feel that the gravity of this planet was shockingly strong. Moreover, the closer they got to the planet, the more terrifying the gravity became. In the end, when they appeared tens of thousands of meters above the star system, the gravity was already shockingly strong. They had to constantly circulate their divine power to maintain flight in order to resist the gravity. Get down! Ouyang Xiangxiang took the lead and flew down. The others followed her and landed on the ground. Bang! Bang! In the end, they landed heavily on the ground, creating huge pits. What a hard ground! Everyone's heart jolted and they were very surprised. Chapter 2891 Separate Actions. Everyone found that the ground of this planet was extremely hard, like metal, not like ordinary rock at all. This place is covered by a large array all year round. That array can refine a star into a star core. Therefore, the planets surrounding the star are also affected. They are much smaller than other planets, but their density is also many times higher. The density of the objects on them is also many times higher. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming and the group nodded. They had also thought of this. In such an environment, this planet was naturally dead silent. There were no living creatures. Everywhere he looked, he could only see bare rocks that gave off a metallic luster. Moreover, these rocks were fiery red, like pieces of rubies. Of course, these rocks would be treasures in the mortal world. However, they were of no use to Lu Ming and the rest. Although this planet is much smaller than the planets in the outside world, its surface area is still astonishingly large. I think it's better for us to split up so that it'll be easier to find the array plates. At this moment, the Supreme Holy Sun spoke coldly. That's right. I think so too. Supreme Universe, let's join forces. The Sacred Sun of Reflection said. Good, just what I want. The Supreme Holy Sun laughed. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. With a flash, the floating light Saint Sun, Ji Xia Saint Sun, Yen Kong Saint Sun, and Xue Tan Saint Daughter appeared beside the Supreme Saint Sun. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, let's have a competition and see who can get the array plate. The Supreme Saint sneered and then turned around to leave with the Drift Light Saint Sun and the others. Lu Ming did not stop them or say anything. The departure of the Supreme Holy Sun and the rest was exactly what Lu Ming wanted. He could not be bothered to move with them. Even if the other party didn't leave on their own, he would find an excuse to leave. Only Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were left at the scene. The two of them discussed for a while, then randomly chose a direction and ran along the ground. The ground here was made of fiery red rocks, some of which had already crystallized. They were extremely hard, and not even a blade of grass grew on them. The two of them ran for tens of thousands of miles, but the situation was the same. They didn't find anything. The two of them were helpless and could only continue moving forward. They had no idea where the array plate was, so they could only try their luck in the dark. Just like that, a few hours passed and they still found nothing. There's something on the ground. At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He felt a slight vibration from the ground. Bang! Just as Lu Ming finished his sentence, the rocks on the ground exploded with a bang. Then, a fiery red light rushed toward Lu Ming. Boom! Lu Ming did not think. His divine power burst out and he threw a punch at the fiery red light. There was a loud explosion and the fiery red light was blown away. It hit the ground and created a huge pit. There are actually living beings here. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were both stunned. At this moment, they could clearly see what the fiery red light was. It was a living creature that looked very similar to a pangolin. Its entire body was covered in a layer of fiery red armor, and on its two claws, there were two sharp, ice-cold claws. The pangolin squeaked and looked at Lu Ming with burning greed in its eyes. Flesh, flesh and blood, the pangolin shouted. With a sway of its body, it charged at Lu Ming again. Bang! Lu Ming threw another punch and the pangolin was sent flying. It crashed onto the ground but the pangolin shook its body and stood up. What a strong defensive power! Lu Ming's gaze flickered. He could tell that this pangolin was roughly at the first-level heavenly deity realm, but its defensive power was much stronger than other first-level heavenly deity realm creatures. An ordinary first-level celestial deity would have been torn to pieces by Lu Ming's punch. However, the pangolin seemed to be fine after being hit by Lu Ming's two punches. Flesh, flesh and blood. The pangolin let out a sharp cry and pounced at Lu Ming again. This time, a long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hands and he thrust it forward. The long spear pierced through the pangolin's mouth and pierced through it. This time, the pangolin struggled a few times before it stopped moving. There was no sign of life left. Lu Ming waved his hand and kept the pangolin. The scales of this pangolin were extremely hard. If they were used to make armor, it would be difficult for anyone below the heavenly god realm to break through it. This was a good item. There are still living beings on this planet. How amazing! Ouyang Qingxiang also sighed. I'm guessing that it's the remaining living beings on this planet. Lu Ming said. He speculated that this planet must have had many living beings, but with the formation, the star gradually died out, and the environment outside changed greatly. Many living beings went extinct or left this place. However, some creatures had extremely tenacious vitality. They might evolve with the changes in their environment and survive tenaciously, such as the pangolin. The appearance of the pangolin caused the two of them to raise their guard. Since the pangolin could exist, there might be more creatures. There might even be extremely terrifying creatures. They had to be careful. The two of them retracted their auras and continued to advance in the same direction. Not long after, they encountered another pangolin attack. However, its strength was similar to the previous one. The two of them used their full strength and easily killed it. There are living beings here. Perhaps they know where the array plate is. Suddenly, Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes lit up. That's right, why didn't I think of that? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. With this thought in mind, the two of them felt a fire burning in their hearts. They continued to move in this direction, and sure enough, not long after, they encountered a few more pangolins. The two of them severely injured one of the pangolin creatures, while killing the rest. Speak, do you know if there are any array plates here? Lu Ming stepped on the pangolin's body and looked down at it, asking coldly. Flesh, flesh and blood. The pangolin kept struggling and growling. It did not answer Lu Ming's question. This kind of living being seems to have very low intelligence. It only knows how to devour flesh and blood. Ouyang Xiangxiang frowned. It was obvious that there were no other living creatures on this planet. These pangolin creatures were very thirsty for flesh and blood. That was why they kept attacking Lu Ming and the rest. However, its spiritual intelligence was extremely low. Since spiritual intelligence is not enough, then search your soul. Lu Ming said. Then he cast the soul-searching art and began to search his soul. Not long after, Lu Ming managed to obtain some useful information from the pangolin's soul. Chapter 2892 Fighting a Supreme. Once more the information contained in the pangolin's soul was very scattered. However, Lu Ming still managed to capture some useful information. In a certain location on this planet, there was a very strange place. Many pangolin creatures lived there. There must be something wrong with this abnormal situation. Perhaps there's an array plate in that place. Even if there's no array plate, there are other treasures. It's worth it to go. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. Lu Ming, have you found anything? Ouyang Qingxiang asked. We found something strange somewhere on this planet. Let's go take a look. Lu Ming said. At once, Lu Ming headed in a certain direction according to the information he obtained from the pangolin's soul. As they headed in this direction, they were constantly attacked by the pangolin creatures. The number of pangolin creatures seemed to have increased in this direction. Fortunately, the cultivation of these pangolin creatures wasn't very high. They were all at the first-level heavenly deity realm, and he didn't encounter any second-level heavenly deity. Although first-tier celestial deity realm cultivators had powerful defense, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang did not feel any pressure and continued to charge through. 2 days later, they arrived at a hill. From a distance, the hills looked like giant red rubies embedded in the ground, shining with a brilliant light. From time to time, pangolin creatures could be seen crawling across the hills. According to the pangolin's memories, that special place was at the center of the hill. Boom, boom. At this moment, a series of rumbling sounds came from the depths of the hill. In the distance, one could see beams of divine light shooting up into the sky and breaking through the firmament. On the hill, there was a huge battle. Who is it? Could it be Supreme Universe and the others? Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes flickered as she asked. It's very likely that the pangolin creatures have all gone inside. Let's go in, Lu Ming said. Within the hill, the pangolin creatures heard the commotion and ran towards the depths of the hill. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang restrained their auras to the extreme and quietly followed. Not long after, they arrived at the depths of the hill. He saw 5 figures fighting with a group of pangolin creatures. It's them indeed. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang exchanged glances. The 5 who were fighting the pangolin were the Supreme Saint Sun and the Transient Light Saint Sun. There were a few hundred pangolin creatures that were constantly attacking the Supreme Holy Sun and the other 4. However, although there were many pangolin creatures, their cultivation wasn't high. Most of them were first-level heavenly deities, only a few were second-level heavenly deities. As for third-level heavenly deities, there wasn't a single one. The Supreme Holy Sun and the other 4 had the upper hand. They kept breaking out of the encirclement and rushed towards a hill. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes also swept over the hill, and their eyes suddenly lit up. There was an altar on the hill. It was not tall, only a meter or so. Runes were shining on the altar, and a bronze token was floating above it. An array plate. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's hearts skipped a beat. It was very likely that this was the array plate they were looking for. They didn't expect that there would really be an array plate here. Their luck was pretty good. One had to know that there were only 12 of these array plates. Charge! We must get this array plate. The Supreme Holy Sun roared. At this moment, he had already transformed into the body of the Supreme Guardian Deity. His body was huge and he kept punching out with both fists. Every punch could send a pangolin flying. Some even exploded. Even though the pangolin had a strong defense, it couldn't withstand the Supreme Holy Sun's full-powered attack. The floating light Saint Sun and the others followed the Supreme Saint Sun on both sides. They attacked continuously and quickly approached the altar. This array plate is mine. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled into a cold smile. Since he had encountered it, how could he let the Supreme Holy Sun and the others get it? Let's go! Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang moved and rushed toward the altar. Most of the pangolin creatures were surrounding the Supreme Holy Sun and the rest. They did not notice Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang at all. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were unimpeded. Only a few pangolin creatures attacked them, but they were easily sent flying. They quickly approached the altar. Lu Ming, the Supreme Saint, also noticed the two of them and let out a furious roar. He was even more furious when he saw the two of them approaching the altar at a high speed. Don't even think about, the Supreme Holy Sun roared. He didn't care about his own defense and allowed the pangolin creatures to attack him. He rushed towards the altar in a frenzy. In this way, his speed was indeed much faster. However, he was still slower than Lu Ming. Very soon, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were less than 1,000 meters away from the altar. At this moment, they finally alerted most of the pangolin creatures. Many of them charged toward Lu Ming and Lin Feng. Song of the Green Lotus Sword, die! Ouyang Qingxiang shouted. With a wave of her hand, green lotus flowers appeared around her. Boundless sword chi burst forth, aiming for the pangolin's mouth and eyes. Immediately, many pangolin creatures were killed. Ancient God Body. Lu Ming immediately used the Ancient God tactic. His body grew rapidly, turning into a green-armored ancient god that was more than 200 meters tall. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming waved his long spear and used army obliteration, sending more than 10 pangolin creatures flying. Lu Ming strode forward. In a few steps, he was near the altar. Then, the long spear vibrated and blasted the pangolin creatures away. He then stretched out a large hand and grabbed the array plate. Lu Ming, you dare! The Supreme Holy Sun roared in anger and tried to rush forward, but he was still a step too slow. Lu Ming grabbed the array plate. There was nothing unusual. Lu Ming held the array plate in his hand. Lu Ming, I found the array plate first. Hand it over. The Supreme Saint roared and finally rushed over, throwing a punch at Lu Ming. The dazzling fist radiance was like a golden sun, crushing toward Lu Ming with terrifying power. Lu Ming fired a shot with a backhand. Boom! Their attacks collided with each other, creating a deafening boom. Rings of energy spread out, sending many pangolin creatures flying. Bang! Bang! Their huge bodies swayed and they both took a few steps back. Don't you know that whoever sees it will have a share? Besides, you've only seen it and haven't obtained it yet. Why can't I do something? Lu Ming sneered in response. Then you'll die, Paragon Divine Fist. The Supreme Holy Sun roared and swung his fist at Lu Ming. Lu Ming put away the array plate and waved his long spear to kill the Supreme Holy Sun. During the battle, Lu Ming cast the Divine Dragon Phenomenon art. 3 huge 9-clawed divine dragons appeared in the sky and pounced toward the Supreme Holy Sun. Chapter 2894. Killing with a borrowed knife. Lu Ming and the Supreme Holy Sun were engaged in an intense battle. The two of them had just exchanged blows some time ago. At this moment, Lu Ming still had the upper hand. Lu Ming had used all his techniques. After exchanging more than a dozen moves, Lu Ming had the upper hand. The Supreme Holy Sun was no match for him and kept retreating. Quickly come and help me! The Supreme Holy Sun roared. Behind him, the floating light Saint Sun, the Jixia Saint Sun, and the others also rushed up. Floating light, your opponent is me, die. Ouyang Qingxiang shouted coldly and charged toward the sacred sun. Ouyang Qingxiang and the sacred sun of reflection were both at the 5th level heavenly deity realm. The two of them were engaged in an intense battle. As for Saint Sun Jixia, Saint Sun Yenkong, and Saint Daughter Xuetan, their cultivations were much weaker. Just as they rushed toward Lu Ming, they were swept away by Lu Ming's spear and almost spat out blood. They could not interfere in the battle between Lu Ming and the Supreme Holy Sun. After a few more moves, the dragon claws of a 9-clawed divine dragon clawed on the Supreme Holy Sun's body, leaving a few deep wounds on his body. The Supreme Holy Sun roared and punched the 9-clawed divine dragon Dharma Laksana to pieces. However, Lu Ming had the measure formula. Divine power gushed into his body continuously. 3 9-clawed divine dragons were formed once again. There were still 9 ice chains. Once they were destroyed, Lu Ming would condense them again, not caring about the consumption of divine power. Damn it. Lu Ming, just you wait, the Supreme Holy Sun roared and turned to leave. He knew that it was impossible for him to snatch the array plate back now that Lu Ming had it. It would be disadvantageous for him if the battle continued. The Supreme Holy Sun turned and left. The transient light Holy Sun and the others didn't dare to continue fighting. They hurriedly followed the Supreme Holy Sun and ran away. They quickly broke out of the pangolin's encirclement and left this place. Lu Ming did not give chase. Although his combat strength could suppress the Supreme Saint Sun, defeating and killing were two completely different things. It was impossible for him to kill the Supreme Saint Sun with his current strength. We're leaving too. Let's go, Lu Ming said to Ouyang Qingxiang. Then, the two of them charged in another direction. After breaking out of the encirclement, they disappeared from this world. More than 100,000 miles away, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang found a place to rest. 2 days later, when the two of them had recovered to their peak condition, they continued their search on this planet. Unfortunately, they searched this planet for a full 7 to 8 days without finding anything. It seems like there's only one array plate on this planet. Let's go to other planets to take a look, Ouyang Qingxiang said. All right, let's go to that planet. Lu Ming stretched out his hand and pointed to the sky. Above their heads, there was a fiery red planet floating in the air. This planet was closer to the star. All right. Ouyang Qingxiang nodded. Immediately, the two of them shot into the sky and turned into 2 beams of light, flying toward the planet. Not long after Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang left, 5 figures appeared in a secret place not far away. They were the Supreme Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, and the others. What should we do now, Supreme Universe? The Sacred Sun of Reflection asked. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang must die. The Supreme Holy Sun gritted his teeth as his eyes flashed with a sinister light. I'm afraid we can't kill Lu Ming and the rest with our abilities. Holy Maiden Xuetan said. If we can't kill him, someone else can. Back in the land of the ancient god, Lu Ming killed the Holy Sons of the unique Devil Academy and the Immortal Sword Sect. Both of these forces want to get rid of Lu Ming. The Supreme Holy Sun said coldly. You want to kill with a borrowed knife? The eyes of the Sacred Sun and the others lit up. That's right. Right now, Mo Jui and the others from the unique Demon Academy are on that pitch-black planet. Let's go there and inform Lu Ming of his whereabouts. Moreover, Lu Ming has an array plate on him. I believe that Mo Jui will definitely take action, the Supreme Saint Sun said with a murderous aura. He glanced at the Sacred Sun of Reflection and the others and continued, as long as Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang are dead, the Kong Xian sect will still be mine. I promise that I will not mistreat you in the future. Rather than letting the Kong Xian sect fall into Lu Ming and Ouyang Xiangxiang's hands in the future, it's better to let you, the Supreme Universe, make the decision. Let's go. Well, go find Mo Jui and the others. The Sacred Sun said. The 5 of them immediately flew toward the pitch-black planet where the unique Devil Academy was located. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang did not spend much time and landed on the fiery red planet. The environment of this planet was even worse. This planet's gravity was stronger than the previous one, and the temperature was shockingly high. It was difficult for ordinary creatures to survive. After the two of them arrived on this planet, they started searching everywhere. This is red mist gold. Not long after, they found a few pieces of strange metal. Scarlet mist gold was an extremely rare material for forging weapons. It could be used to forge supreme-grade divine weapons used by god kings and was extremely precious. The two of them were overjoyed. What Dragon Boat Mountain said was right. In this galaxy, there were indeed other treasures besides that array plate. This metal is also very useful to Qiuqiu. It will definitely be of great use to him if he swallows it. Lu Ming pondered. At the thought of this, Lu Ming looked at the bracelet that Qiuqiu had transformed into on his wrist. Ever since Qiuqiu had swallowed the bronze from the bronze altar in the ancient god world, it had been in a deep sleep. It still showed no signs of waking up. There were 2 pieces of crimson afterglow gold in total. Initially, they were going to split it evenly. Lu Ming wanted to buy it from Ouyang Xiangxiang with divine crystals, but Ouyang Xiangxiang shook her head and gave the crimson afterglow gold to Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not stand on ceremony and kept it. After that, they continued to search the planet and found many precious metal materials. Ouyang Qingxiang knew that these metal materials were very useful to Lu Ming and gave them all to him. She only took some divine crystals as a token. While Lu Ming and the rest were searching the planet, the Supreme Saint and the Transient Light Saint had already found Mo Jui and the rest. Supreme Universe, you actually dare to take the initiative to find us. Aren't you afraid that it'll make a move and make you stay? Mo Jui sneered at the Supreme Holy Sun and the others, killing intent flashing in his eyes. The Supreme Saint's son, the Transient Light Saint's son, and the others' expressions changed slightly. However, they weren't ordinary people and quickly calmed down. Mo Jui, we're not a threat to you at all. The real threat to you is Lu Ming. The Supreme Saint said. Lu Ming? You think that kid is a threat to me? Mo Jui's eyes glinted coldly as he revealed a strong sense of confidence. That's right. Without a doubt, the divine power that Lu Ming controls is also divine-grade divine power. He has also mastered a few extremely terrifying secret skills. His combat power is astonishing. If his cultivation level increases, he might be able to fight you. Also, he already has an array plate. The Supreme Saint said. Chapter 2894 surrounded. Oh, there's an array plate? Mo Jui's eyes lit up and he looked at the Supreme Holy Sun with a faint smile. Supreme Universe, I know that you want to use me to get rid of Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming has repeatedly offended our unique demon academy and killed our holy son. He deserves to die 1,000 times. Even if you don't say it, I will still kill him. We're not borrowing your power. We're working together to get rid of Lu Ming. The array plate will be yours. We'll each take what we need. The Supreme Saint said. Whatever. Tell me, where is Lu Ming? Mo Jui said indifferently. It's on that planet. The Supreme Holy Sun pointed at the fiery red planet in the sky and said, All right, let's go to that planet then. A cold glint flashed in Mo Jui's eyes. He took the lead and soared into the sky, flying towards the planet where Lu Ming and the rest were. At the same time, the other experts from the Unique Devil Academy also followed Mo Jui. Lu Ming, let's see how you die this time. A cold glint flashed in the Supreme Holy Sun's eyes. Then he, the Drift Light Holy Sun, and the others followed the people from the Unique Devil Academy and rushed toward the planet where Lu Ming was. Not long after, Mo Jui, the Supreme Holy Sun, and the rest landed on the planet where Lu Ming was. However, they could not find him after looking around. Could Lu Ming and the rest have left this planet? A genius from the Unique Demon Academy said. I don't think so. They just arrived on this planet not long ago, so they'll definitely spend some time searching. It's just that this planet is very large, so we haven't encountered them yet. The Supreme Saint said. Then we'll split up. Four-eyed, you take a few people with you and move together with Universe Master and the others. I'll take a few people with me. Remember, once you encounter Lu Ming and the others, immediately send me a message in case he gets away, Mo Jui ordered. Yes, Once we meet Lu Ming, he won't be able to escape. Four-eyed Kong Ting said with confidence. The eyes of Universe Master flashed, but he didn't say anything. He knew that this was the best arrangement. The Four-Eye Void Courtyard's combat strength was not any weaker than his. If he joined forces with the Four-Eye Void Courtyard, he would not have to fear Lu Ming. Once Emoji arrived, Lu Ming would be dead for sure. After the distribution, Emoji brought the few heavens favorites and left. Four-Eye Void Court and Supreme Universe took a group of people and set off from another direction. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang had no idea that the Supreme Holy Sun had joined forces with the unique Demon Academy and had already arrived on this planet. They continued their search on this planet. This planet really didn't have any living beings. They could only search in the dark. One had to admit that they were really lucky. 2 days later, they found an altar in a canyon. Above the altar, there was a bronze array plate floating. There were only 12 array plates in total, and they actually saw one. This luck was indeed amazing. The two of them were overjoyed. Just as they were about to fly over and take the array plate, a few figures rushed over at an astonishing speed. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Lu Ming and the rest, blocking their way. Supreme Universe, it's you again. Four-Eyes Void Court, why are you two together? Ouyang Xiangxiang's eyes suddenly changed after she looked around. Send a message to the Divine Child. At that moment, Four-Eye Void Court ordered one of the geniuses from the unique Demon Academy to send a message to Emoji. As for himself, his 4 eyes flickered with a cold light as he stared at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, let's see where you can run to this time. The Supreme Holy Sun's figure flashed and appeared behind Lu Ming and the others, blocking their path of retreat. Supreme Universe, you actually joined hands with the people from the unique Devil Academy? To deal with the disciples of Kong Xian sect? Ouyang Qingxiang angrily shouted. Her face was ugly as she looked around. She was afraid that Emoji would be nearby and that would be dangerous. However, she heaved a sigh of relief when she did not see Emoji. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, it's your fault for being so stubborn and going against me. You deserve to die 1,000 times. The Supreme Holy Sun roared ferociously, then said to Four-Eyed Empty Court, Four-Eyes Void Court, let's attack together and stall Lu Ming. There's no need for us to join forces to deal with a mere Lu Ming. Supreme Universe, I think you're becoming more and more useless. Let me do it. Four-Eyes looked at the Supreme Holy Sun in disdain. He could clearly sense that Lu Ming's cultivation base was only at true God level. He did not believe that a true God-level person could go against him. Boom. And in this, Four-Eyed Kong Ting's body exuded a berserk energy, vast divine power surging out. He was a 6th-level heavenly god with 4 eyes. He was the same as the Supreme Holy Sun, a 6th-level heavenly god who could control the divine power. Kill! With a wave of his hand, Four-Eyed Void Court's fingers shot out beams of spear radiance. They were sharp and dazzling as they charged toward Lu Ming. Ancient God Tactic, Space Breaking. In an instant, Lu Ming cast the Ancient God Tactic and transformed into the Ancient God body. He continuously thrust the long spear in his hand and destroyed the spear radiance in the void. The body of the Ancient God. You've also cultivated the body of the Ancient God. The Four-Eyed Void Beast roared in disbelief. Its 4 eyes were filled with envy and jealousy. It turned into a stream of light and charged at Lu Ming. At the same time, his 4 eyes glowed. Then, 4 terrifying beams of light burst out and shot towards Lu Ming. The power was extremely terrifying. Break the air, break the air. Lu Ming continuously cast the first move of the 3 apocalyptic strikes, shaking the long spear. In an instant, terrifying spear radiance shot out and blocked the Four-Eyed Void's attack. He's so strong. How is this possible? At this moment, the Four-Eye Void was shocked. He finally knew why the Supreme Holy Sun had been defeated by Lu Ming. It was not because the Supreme Holy Sun was useless, but because Lu Ming was too abnormal. A dragon's roar rang out as Lu Ming cast the Divine Dragon Materialization technique. He used all sorts of techniques to attack the Four-Eye Void. The Four-Eyed Void Court's combat strength was indeed very powerful. It was not weaker than the Supreme Universe. The attack that burst out from its 4 eyes was especially terrifying. Even Lu Ming was rather afraid. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged more than a dozen moves. The more they fought, the more shocked 4-Eye Void was. He felt that he was no match for Lu Ming. Supreme Universe, attack together. The 4-Eyes Void Court roared. I already told you that we're going to attack together. The universe supremacy mocked him. Then, he transformed into the Supreme Guardian Deity and charged at Lu Ming. The two of them joined forces and Lu Ming was at a disadvantage. On the other side, the others charged toward Ouyang Qingxiang, putting her in a precarious situation. We can't stay here for long. Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind and planned to leave first. Even Universe Master or 4-Eyed Void Court were no match for Lu Ming on their own. However, if the two of them joined forces, Lu Ming would be no match for them. At most, he could only protect himself. Chapter 2896 Encountering Emoji. Even if Lu Ming could protect himself, Ouyang Qingxiang was still in danger. Therefore, Lu Ming could not be bothered to fight with the other party. Explode, explode, explode. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The 3 9-clawed divine dragons suddenly exploded and formed a terrifying wave of energy. The Supreme Vajra, which was transformed by the Supreme Holy Sun, was pushed back continuously. Lu Ming took the opportunity to break out of the encirclement and charge toward Ouyang Qingxiang. At that moment, Ouyang Qingxiang was fully focused on defense. Green lotus flowers floated around her to block the attacks from the outside, but she was still in a precarious situation. This was because there was an existence stronger than Ouyang Qingxiang in the unique Demon Academy. Even if Ouyang Qingxiang focused on defense, she would still be in great danger. Get lost. At this moment, Lu Ming had arrived. The long spear pressed down, turning into a dozen huge spear shadows that pressed down like a mountain range. Boom, boom, boom. The spear radiance pressed down, emitting a terrifying vibration. The expressions of the floating light Holy Sun, Jixia Holy Sun, Yenkong Holy Sun, Xuetan Holy Maiden, and the 6 Holy Sons and Holy Virgins of the unique Demon Academy all changed. Then, with a long roar, each of them burst out with their strongest attack, blasting toward Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. A terrifying tremor erupted, and then more than 10 figures retreated. The Sacred Sun of Reflection and the other top 10 experts were forced back by Lu Ming's attack. They were at least 100 meters away. Some of them with weaker cultivations even trembled and spat out a mouthful of blood. How terrifying! The same thought emerged in their hearts. They were also saints, but even with so many of them joining forces, they were still repelled by Lu Ming in one move. Some of them were even injured. Lu Ming's strength shocked them. Let's go! Lu Ming rushed past her. A stream of divine power wrapped around Ouyang Qingxiang and they ran forward madly. Where are you going? Chase! Universe Master and 4-Eyes Void Court shouted and chased after Lu Ming, followed by the others. The two sides, one chasing and one escaping, covered thousands of miles in the blink of an eye. However, Lu Ming's speed was even faster. He was like a flying ROC, and the distance between him and Universe Master, 4-Eye Void, and the others was constantly widening. Damn it, Supreme Universe bellowed. The killing intent in his heart was already incomparably thick. Lu Ming had to die. Otherwise, the fact that he had joined forces with the people from the unique Demon Academy to kill Lu Ming would definitely be exposed. By then, even if he had someone to protect him, he would never be able to stand out in the Kong Xian sect. He would be spurned by everyone. Therefore, he had to kill Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. Don't worry, just let him run in this direction. His 4 eyes were empty, but his face was calm. Don't tell me it's in that direction. Supreme Universe seemed to have thought of something and his eyes lit up. That's right. Emoji is coming from that direction. If he runs in that direction, he'll be walking right into a trap. So, we just have to keep chasing him and let him run forward. 4-eyed Kong Ting sneered. That's great. Paragon Universe was overjoyed. Of course, their conversation was transmitted to Lu Ming for fear that he would overhear it. The chase continued for another half an hour. The distance between the two parties had widened. Supreme Universe and the rest could barely see Lu Ming's figure. Not good. Lu Ming's stop. At this time, Bone's voice echoed. What's wrong? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he could not help but stop. There's an expert in front of us and he's coming at a high speed. This person's cultivation is extremely strong, and you're definitely not his match. He's so fast he's almost here. Quickly change direction. Bone Demon shouted, somewhat anxious. Could it be Mo Jui? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The first person he thought of was Mo Jui. Since Simu Kongting and the others had appeared, Mo Jui was most likely on this planet as well. Without thinking, Lu Ming immediately changed his direction and dashed to the left. Damn it, why did he change direction? Could he have already discovered Mo Jui? The four-eyed void beast roared in anger and chased after Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming had just changed his direction. After running for a short while, he sensed a terrifying aura coming from the direction he came from. The speed of the aura was shocking. When it first appeared, it was still very far away, but in a few breaths, it was not far away. It's Mo Jui indeed. Lu Ming's gaze swept across and he saw Mo Jui's figure. A layer of black light appeared around Mo Jui's body, making him look like a dark cloud. He chased after Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. Its speed was even faster than Lu Ming's. The distance between him and Lu Ming was closing. In the beginning, the two sides were still separated by several thousand li, but soon, the distance between the two sides was less than 1,000 li. After running for a while more, the distance between the two sides was reduced to less than 300 miles. If this continued, Lu Ming would be caught up to very soon. Lu Ming die. Mo Jui's cold voice was heard. The black light around his body surged and turned into a pitch-black claw. It crossed a distance of hundreds of miles and grabbed at Lu Ming. Divine Dragon Phenomenon. Lu Ming cast the Divine Dragon Materialization Art and 3 huge 9-clawed Divine Dragons condensed and pounced towards Mo Jui's claws. Small tricks, break, die. Mo Jui shouted coldly as his pitch-black claws swiped down. Bang, bang, bang. With 3 loud bangs, the 3 9-clawed Divine Dragons were shattered. They could not stop Lu Ming at all. The black claws continued to claw at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's expression changed. He turned around and attacked with all his might. Lu Ming cast the second move of the 3 apocalyptic strikes, moon cutting. He held the spear with both hands and swung it down with all his might. A crescent-shaped spear light blasted towards the pitch-black claw. When the crescent-shaped spear light struck the pitch-black claw, a violent boom was heard. The crescent-shaped spear light trembled continuously before it exploded. Lu Ming felt an extremely powerful force surging towards him from his spear. His body trembled and his huge body retreated frantically. Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood. Furthermore, he felt a jet-black energy covering his body. It had a terrifying corrosive power that was about to corrode his body. What terrifying divine power! Lu Ming's expression was grave. The 6 divine flames in his body circulated at full force. Divine power rushed to the surface of his body continuously to block the divine power. The divine power that Mo Jui controlled was a divine-grade divine power, and it was shockingly powerful. Let's go! Lu Ming did not stop. He ran forward while resisting the divine power. You have some strength, but it's not enough. Kill, die. Mo Jui shouted coldly and attacked again. Lu Ming ran while blocking the attacks. Mo Jui's strength was truly shocking. Lu Ming could already sense that Mo Jui's cultivation was at the 6th level celestial deity realm. However, he controlled divine-grade divine energy and was much stronger than Supreme Universe and Four-Eye Void. Lu Ming was no match for him at all. Even if it was a long-distance attack, the power was still extremely shocking. A planet close to a star, although Mo Jui's cultivation base was still at the 6th level Heavenly God realm, which was on par with Supreme Universe and Four-Eye Void Court, his combat strength was far stronger than them. Even after exchanging a few moves across space, Lu Ming felt that he was far from being Mo Jui's match. After a few moves, Lu Ming's blood was boiling and blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. The distance between Mo Jui and him was rapidly closing. That brat is dead for sure. Behind him, Universe Master was overjoyed. He sped up and chased after Lu Ming, wanting to attack Lu Ming together with Mo Jui. We can't continue like this. Lu Ming's mind was racing. If this continued, Mo Jui would catch up to him in no time. At that time, the Supreme Universe would catch up with him, and Lu Ming would not be able to escape. Only death would await him. Lu Ming, there's only one way out now. Fly toward the star and the planet closest to it. The closer you are to the star, the stronger the gravity will be. The environment there will definitely be more complicated. Only then will you have a chance to escape. Bone's voice was heard. He was very knowledgeable and quickly thought of a countermeasure. All right. Lu Ming did not hesitate at all. He struck out with his spear with all his might. A huge spear light collided with Mo Jui's attack. The force was activated and Lu Ming's body shook. At the same time, Lu Ming borrowed this force and shot into the sky. The cry of a Kuan Peng was heard. Lu Ming used all his strength to cast the 9 heavenly Kuan Peng technique. The strong divine power condensed into a Kuan Peng on the surface of Lu Ming's body. With a flap of its wings, the Kuan Peng soared into the sky and traveled 90,000 miles in an instant, rushing toward the planet closest to the star. You want to leave? Dream on. Mo Jui came to his senses and rose into the sky, chasing after Lu Ming. Behind him, Supreme Universe, Four-Eye Void Court, and the others also rose into the sky and chased after Lu Ming. After rushing out of the starry sky, Lu Ming used the 9 heavenly Kuan Peng technique with all his might. His speed became even faster, as if he was a bird flying in the sky. For a moment, Mo Jui could not catch up with Lu Ming. The two sides, one chasing and one escaping, crossed a long distance and rapidly approached the planet closest to the star. From afar, the planet closest to the star was a sea of fiery red, as if it was enveloped by a layer of fiery red clouds. It was a dazzling sight. Very soon, Lu Ming was not far from this planet. Lu Ming, even if you run to the ends of the earth, you're still going to die. Mo Jui bellowed and used all his strength to chase after Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not say a word. He was engrossed in his journey. Finally, he arrived in the sky above the planet and rushed into the dazzling clouds. Lu Ming's body trembled violently the moment he charged into the clouds. He almost lost control of his body and fell to the ground. What a terrifying gravitational force! Lu Ming was shocked. The gravity of this planet was beyond his imagination. It was extremely terrifying. Even Lu Ming was almost hit by it. However, before Lu Ming could come to his senses, a strong gust of wind came toward him at an alarming speed. Before he could react, he was swept into the strong wind. It was hot. This was Lu Ming's first impression. This gust of wind was extremely hot. Its temperature was even more terrifying than lava. Lu Ming could feel waves of burning pain on his skin. Lu Ming hurriedly circulated his divine power to resist, and he felt slightly better. However, the power of the gale was too shocking. Even if Lu Ming wanted to burst out with all his strength and rush out, he could not do it. He could only be swept away by the gale and flew to an unknown place. Behind him, Mo Jui followed closely behind Lu Ming and rushed into the planet. However, he ended up like Lu Ming. The moment he rushed in, he was also swept away by a hot gust of wind. He could not help but be swept in a different direction from Lu Ming. After Mo Jui, Supreme Universe, Four-Eye Void Court, Sacred Sun of Reflection, and the others all rushed into the planet. However, some of the weaker ones were even worse off. They couldn't control their bodies and were attracted by the terrifying gravity, falling to the ground and suffering heavy injuries. As for those with higher cultivation bases, although they were able to resist the gravitational pull, they were swept away by the scorching wind and flew to who knows where. The group of people had all been scattered. Lu Ming drifted along with the strong wind. He did not know how far he had flown. Slowly, the power of the strong wind weakened. Lu Ming seized the opportunity and rushed out of the strong wind, flying toward the ground. Bang! Lu Ming landed heavily on the ground. The hardness of the ground here was even more shocking. It was several times harder than the ground of the previous planets. The strong gravitational force was constantly acting on Lu Ming's body. He could only circulate his divine power to resist it at all times. Lu Ming was on guard. However, after waiting for a moment, he did not find anything unusual. It seems that this kind of wind only exists in the high altitude of this planet. There are fewer on the ground. As long as I avoid it carefully, I should be fine. Lu Ming pondered for a while and then released his right palm. Ouyang Xiangxiang was sitting cross-legged on his palm. At the moment, Lu Ming had the body of an ancient god. He was a few hundred meters tall and his palm was huge. It was very easy for him to hold Ouyang Qingxiang. Lu Ming, are you all right? Where are Mo Jui and the rest? Ouyang Qingxiang quickly asked. We've shaken them off, Lu Ming said. As he spoke, Lu Ming's body quickly shrank to the size of an ordinary person. Then he felt a sense of weakness. In the previous battle, Lu Ming had been maintaining his ancient god body, which had consumed a lot of his energy. Following that, the two of them randomly chose a direction and ran. Not long after, they found a hidden place and the two of them took a rest. A few days later, the two of them had recovered to their peak condition. They left the place and continued forward. Soon, the two of them had some gains. Lu Ming found a few pieces of strange metal. In the next few days, the two of them continued to gain. There were many precious metals on this planet. Lu Ming was all smiles. This planet was the closest to the star, so it was affected the most by the array. It was indeed extraordinary. Gah! Suddenly, a sharp bird's cry came from the front. Could there be a living being? Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were both stunned. It sounded like a bird's cry. However, how could any living creature survive on this planet in such a harsh environment? The two of them were very curious and flew in the direction of the sound. Boom, boom. Not long after, the two of them heard a violent rumble. Someone was fighting. The two of them quickly concealed their auras and flew for a while before they finally saw the situation clearly. 5 young men and women were engaged in an intense battle with 3 giant birds. It's the people of the multi-story building sect. Ouyang Qingxiang recognized the 5 people at a glance. They were the heaven's favorites from one of the top 10 sects, the multi-story house sect. The multi-tower sect was one of the top 10 sections. Of course, it was still slightly inferior to the Kong Xian sect. The 5 people in front of him were all very powerful. 3 of them were at the level of saints, and the strongest one was not weaker than Ouyang Qingxiang. Chapter 2897 Star Core Fragment. Fighting against the 5 of them were 3 large snow-white birds. Their wingspans were no less than 50 meters. No, this isn't a real living being. It's made of some kind of energy. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He could tell that the 3 big birds were not living creatures at all. They were condensed from a kind of energy and did not have any life aura at all. Flying snow. The 5 young men and women of the multi-story building sect all used a battle axe with amazing power. When the battle axe chopped down, it completely suppressed the 3 giant birds. In particular, there was a black-robed youth whose strength was not weaker than Ouyang Xiangxiang's. With a swing of his battle axe, he chopped off the wings of a large bird. Kill! The black-robed young man shouted. His battle axe swept across with the might to split open the sky. The axe light swept across, and the big bird's head was chopped off. Its body then collapsed. To Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's surprise, after the big bird dispersed, it actually turned into a stream of energy and surged into the black-robed young man's body. The black-robed young man's face was full of satisfaction and excitement. Kill! Then, the black-robed young man attacked the other 2 big birds. Not long after, the remaining 2 birds were both killed. Just like the previous one, these 2 birds also collapsed and turned into waves of energy that were absorbed by the 5 young men and women. Awesome, this is so awesome. If this continues, our cultivation will break through very soon. A young woman said with excitement on her face. That's right. I don't know what these giant birds are. After killing them, we can actually absorb their energy. This is truly a great opportunity. Let's go, continue moving forward. the black-robed young man said. Then, the 5 of them continued to move forward. Not long after, several large birds appeared and pounced at the black-robed young man's group. What a waste! They're simply wasting God's gift by absorbing it like that. I'm so angry. In his sea of consciousness, the quantity formula shouted unhappily. Old Liang, do you know what those big birds are? Lu Ming asked. Nonsense, of course I know. It's formed by the energy overflowing from the star core fragments. The energy from the star core is extremely pure, so the energy overflowing from the star core fragments can be directly absorbed by people. The quantity formula said. A star core fragment. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. No wonder the black-robed young man and his group of 5 were able to absorb the energy of that huge bird after killing it. It's a complete waste for them to absorb it like that. I'm afraid they can't even absorb half of the energy, and the rest will dissipate. If it were me, I would definitely be able to absorb 100%. The quantity formula said. You're saying that there are star core fragments in this area? Lu Ming continued to ask. That's right, kid. If you can get the star core fragment, I'm confident that I can help you break through to the sky celestial realm in a short time. The quantity formula said. I must get the star core fragment. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Just as Lu Ming was about to rush out and chase away the black-robed young man and the others to occupy this place, a few rainbow lights flew over rapidly from the distance. It's him, for Eyes Void Court. Lu Ming swept his gaze around and discovered that the newcomer was the peerless genius of the unique Demon Academy, Four-Eyed Void Court. In addition, there were also a few geniuses from the unique Demon Academy. The black-robed youth and the others also discovered Four-Eyed Kongting's group, and their faces darkened. Buzz, Buzz, and NBSP whoosh. Simu Kongting and the others stood in the air, looking at the few large birds with greed. It was formed by the overflowing energy of a star core fragment. Haha, there's actually a star core fragment here. The four-eyed King Kong Ting roared in his heart, his 4 eyes filled with greed. As a peerless heaven's favorite of the 3 overlord forces, he naturally had a broad vision. With just a glance, he could tell that this giant bird was formed by the energy overflowing from a star core fragment. This was a great opportunity. You guys can get lost. I want this place. Four-eyed Kong Ting said coldly. Four-eyed Empty Court. We found this place first. It's too domineering of you to chase us away like this. The black-robed young man said with a gloomy expression. Overbearing? Hee hee, you don't have to leave, but you can stay here forever. Four-eyed Kong Ting sneered. You! The black-robed young man and the other 4 revealed angry expressions. They had finally encountered such an opportunity, so they were somewhat unwilling to leave like this. They quickly retreated and dodged the attacks of a few big birds. They retreated to the side, but they had no intention of leaving. Do you still have any hope of getting lucky? You're really stupid. Then I'll send you on your way. Kill. Simu Kong Ting shouted coldly. As his 4 eyes opened and closed, 4 beams of light shot out towards the black-robed youth and the other 4. Flying snow. The black-robed young man bellowed as he continuously struck out with his battle axe, sending out a dozen axe lights towards the light beam that was shot out from the four-eyed void. Bang! Bang! After a few violent rumbles, the black-robed young man's body trembled and he retreated, spitting out a mouthful of blood. He was no match for the four-eyed void court. Just like when Ouyang Qingxiang was up against the Supreme Universe, she could not even block a few moves. Hee hee, for Eyes Empty Court, you're really very impressive. At this moment, a cold laugh came from the distance. Then, a few sword lights flickered rapidly. The next moment, a few more figures appeared in the area. A few young men were carrying long swords on their backs. The one in the lead had sword-like eyebrows and eagle-like eyes, and he had an extraordinary appearance. Zhua Bingchen. Four-eyed Kong Ting's gaze turned cold, revealing a trace of solemnness. It's him. He's an extremely powerful prodigy from the indestructible sword sect. He's only second to the deity, Wuji Swordsman. He's no weaker than Universe God. Ouyang Qingxiang's face was solemn as she sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded. He could also sense a terrifying sword intent from this person. When the black-robed youth and the other four saw Zhuo Wudi appear, their faces became even uglier. The four-eyed emptiness and Zhuobuma's appearance meant that the opportunities in this place had nothing to do with them. I'm so lucky. This place actually has a star core fragment. Ha, it's mine. Zhuo Wu Fa laughed out loud, full of confidence and greed. It's yours? Zhuo Bingwu, you're really overconfident. Four-eyed Kong Ting sneered. Four eyes in the void, you want to stop me? The outside world has always placed me on the same level as you. Today, you'll see what qualifications you have to be on the same level as me. Zhuo Buzhu said coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying sword essence rose from his body. With a swish, his long sword was drawn and a white sword light shot towards the four-eyed void. Four eyes set the sky. Four eyes shouted loudly. His four eyes were like four suns, giving off a dazzling light. Then four rays of light burst out and turned into four long spears that shot towards Zhuobuma. Buzz, buzz, and NBSP whoosh. The sword light and the destructive light beam collided continuously, causing terrifying sound waves to erupt. In an instant, the two of them had exchanged dozens of moves. After dozens of moves, the two of them retreated at the same time. They were evenly matched. Chapter 2898 Scruples. Four-Eye Kong Ting and Zhuo Wu Fa looked at each other from a distance, their expressions somewhat grave. For a moment, neither of them made a move. They knew that if the two of them were to fight, it would not be decided in a short time. Moreover, if both of them were injured, the black-robed youth and the others would take advantage of it. Gaga. At this moment, a few large birds were chirping as they pounced towards Four-Eye Void Court and Zhuo Buzhu. Buzz. Bush. Four Eyes Void Court and Zhuo Wu Fa attacked at the same time. In an instant, a few large birds were killed by the two of them. They then turned into rolling energy that surged into their bodies and were absorbed. Cool, this is too cool. Four-eyed Kong Ting's face was filled with an intoxicated expression. Zhuo Buzhu was almost the same. If they absorbed the giant bird, their cultivation would improve rapidly. Absorbing one giant bird would be equivalent to 1,000 years of their bitter cultivation. What could be more satisfying than that? For eyes, let's compete fairly for the star core fragment. Whoever gets it will get it. How about it? Zhuo Wu Fa stared at the four-eyed empty court. Alright, let's do that. But before that, we still need to get rid of some miscellaneous people. After saying that, Four-Eyed Void Court swept his cold gaze toward the black-robed youth and the others. That's right, get lost or else die. Zhuo Wu Fa said even more coldly. The black-robed youth's group of 5 had extremely unsightly expressions, but they didn't dare to refute. In this world, strength was the most important. If one talked too much without strength, only death would await them. Let's go! The black-robed youth shouted angrily and turned to leave. Although the other 4 Heaven's favorites from the multi-story sect were unwilling, they had no choice but to follow the black-robed youth and leave. There are still 2 ants. Aren't you going to get lost? After the black-robed young man and his group of 5 left, he looked in the direction of Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang with his cold eyes and said coldly, "It seems that we've been discovered." Lu Ming smiled faintly and walked out with Ouyang Xiangxiang. "Lu Ming, it's you guys." When he saw that it was Lu Ming and Ouyang Xiangxiang, Four-Eyed Void Court bellowed in anger. His 4 eyes flickered with cold killing intent. "Lu Ming, it's you." "Ha. Good, very good. You killed a holy son of my indestructible sword sect in the world of ancient gods. Now, leave your life behind." A terrifying sword intent rushed out of Zhuo Wudi's body. As soon as he finished speaking, a snow-white sword light flew towards Lu Ming with terrifying power. Lu Ming did not hesitate. He immediately used the ancient god tactic and turned into a green-armored ancient god. He thrust his spear and broke Zhuo Buzhu's sword radiance. "Kill!" Lu Ming shouted, his fighting spirit soaring. With his combat power being quadrupled, Lu Ming's body was filled with energy. He held the spear and charged toward Zhuo Buzhu. Zhuo Buzhu's pupils contracted. It was obvious that Lu Ming's abilities had far exceeded his expectations. Undying Sword Principle. Zhuo Wuti shouted and used a terrifying divine skill to attack Lu Ming. Boom, boom. In an instant, the two of them exchanged more than a dozen moves. The others could only see the sky full of spear and sword rays. In the beginning, the spear and sword rays clashed with each other, and it was difficult to tell who was stronger. However, after a few breaths, the spear radiance began to suppress the sword radiance. The sword radiance trembled non-stop and finally exploded with a loud boom. A figure was seen retreating continuously. The one who retreated was naturally Zhuo Wuti. How is that possible? Zhuo Wu's eyes were filled with disbelief. He had never expected Lu Ming to be so powerful that he could not even defeat him. Four-Eyed Void had exchanged blows with Lu Ming before and was not too surprised. Zhuo Buzhu, this Lu Ming is really abnormal. I'm afraid you can't take him down by yourself. How about we join forces and kill him together? Four-Eyed Kong Ting said to Zhuo Biudong. All right. Zhuo Wuti directly nodded his head and released a terrifying sword essence. Four Eyes Void Court and Zhuo Buzhu formed a horn and charged towards Lu Ming. You two want to join forces to kill me? Good, very good. However, do you think you can kill me so easily? If I go all out, I can take one of you down with me. Even if I can't kill you, I can at least heavily injure you. If one of you is seriously injured, would the other let him go? Lu Ming sneered. The moment he said this, Four Eyes Void Court and Zhuo Buzhu's figures stopped. They looked at each other and saw the wariness in each other's eyes. Lu Ming was right. Even if the two of them joined forces to deal with Lu Ming, given Lu Ming's abilities, it was not impossible for him to take one of them down with him if he retaliated before he died. Even if he couldn't kill them, he would definitely be able to severely injure them. If one of them was seriously injured, would the other let the other go? It was impossible. Who wouldn't want to keep the star core fragment for themselves? For a moment, neither of them made a move. Lu Ming, don't you dare try to sow discord. Four-Eyed Kong Ting said in a deep voice. Hee, trying to sow discord? I'm just telling the truth. If you want to fight, it'll keep you company. Lu Ming sneered. Four Eyes Void Court and Zhuo Buzhu still didn't attack. They naturally knew that Lu Ming was telling the truth. For a time, the three sides were in a stalemate. The star core fragment will belong to anyone who sees it. Let's have a fair competition. Whoever can get it will get it. By the time the others arrive, we won't have a share, especially your divine sons. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Four-Eyed Kong Ting and Zhuo Wu's eyes flashed. They were clearly moved. In the unique Demon Academy or the Immortal Sword Sect, the Divine Sons and Holy Sons were also competitors, just like the Kong Shen sect. Four Eyes Void, he had always been suppressed by Mo Jui. It would be a lie to say that he did not want to replace Mo Jui and defeat him. If Mo Jui found this place, the star core fragment would definitely belong to Mo Jui. Compared to killing Lu Ming, it was more important for him to obtain the opportunity. All right, let's have a fair competition. Whoever has the strength and the opportunity will get the star core fragment. The Four-Eyed Empty Court finally gave in. After saying those words, it turned around and rushed forward with the people from the unique Demon Academy. Let's go! How could Zhuo Buzhu fall behind? He also led the few geniuses of the indestructible sword sect and charged forward. Let's go too! Lu Ming nodded at Ouyang Qingxiang. In a flash, the two of them also moved forward. They didn't walk far in this direction before large birds pounced out to kill them. Kill! Lu Ming waved his long spear and pressed down. A big bird was killed by him. At once, the huge bird dispersed and turned into rolling energy that rushed into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming, let me do it first. I'll transfer it to you after I devour it. He said the measure word art. Then, a powerful suction force erupted and devoured all the energy that the big bird had transformed into. The next moment, an extremely pure energy surged out from the measure word art and gushed into Lu Ming's limbs and bones. Lu Ming circulated the universe Thousand Tao mantra to absorb this energy and convert it into divine power. Lu Ming is the only one who can enter in just a few breaths. Lu Ming had completely absorbed and refined this energy. Lu Ming could feel that his divine energy had become much purer. Of course, there was still a long way to go before he could reach the celestial deity realm. What a rich and powerful energy, Lu Ming sighed. Of course. After I absorb it, I can use it 100%. Others can only absorb half of it at most. The quantity word formula said proudly. Lu Ming smiled. Without further ado, he waved his long spear and killed another large bird. He then continued to absorb energy. At this moment, Ouyang Qingxiang had also killed a big bird and absorbed its energy. The divine power in her body had also become stronger. Killing these birds to cultivate would be many times faster than cultivating normally. On the other side, Four Eyes Void Court, Jianghu Fa and the others were also increasing their speed, killing the giant bird and absorbing its energy. After they finished absorbing the energy, they continued to move forward. After Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang finished off a few big birds, they also went forward. As they went deeper, the number of giant birds that appeared increased. They knew that the star core fragment must be right in front of them. Although the giant bird was quite powerful, it was still being hunted down by experts like Lu Ming, Four Eyes Void Court, and Zhuobuju. The giant birds were killed one after another as Lu Ming continued to venture deeper. Ga ga ga. Suddenly, a series of ear-piercing sounds came from the front. Lu Ming and the rest were shocked as they looked ahead in a daze. There was a huge canyon ahead, but at the mouth of the canyon and above the canyon, there were countless large birds flying. At a glance, there were no less than 1,000 of them, covering the sky and blocking out the light in this area. So many, someone said in a hoarse voice. Experts like Lu Ming, Four-Eyed Void Court, and Zhuobuju naturally did not care about such a huge bird alone. However, if so many of them attacked together, even they would find it difficult to deal with. The star core fragment must be in this canyon. Greed appeared in the four-eyed King Kong's eyes. What should we do? There are so many big birds. How can we enter? Zhuobuju muttered, his mind constantly turning, trying to think of a way to get rid of the others and also to take the star core fragment for himself. Lu Ming, I have a way to help you get in. At this moment, the quantity formula spoke again. You have a way? What is it? Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he conversed with the quantity formula secretly. These big birds are formed from the energy leaking out of the star core fragments. They don't seem to have any intelligence and only have a kind of instinct. As for me, in the ancient word, quantity. It's the origin of all energy and can devour all energy. As long as you release your aura, those birds made of energy won't dare to approach you. The quantity formula said. It's that simple? Lu Ming was stunned. It's that simple. The quantity formula said as if it could cut through gold and iron. All right. Lu Ming nodded secretly. He already had an idea. For eyes in the empty courtyard. It seems like we can only charge in if we work together. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke to Four-Eye Void Court and Zhuobudong. Join hands? Four-eyed Kongting and Motionless Desk's eyes flashed. That's right. Let's work together. After we get in, we'll each use our own abilities to get the star core fragment. Lu Ming said. All right, I agree. I also agree. Four Eyes Void Court and Jianghu Fa both nodded. After making up their minds, they prepared to attack. Qingxiang, wait a moment. You have to follow me closely. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Ouyang Qingxiang. Ouyang Qingxiang nodded silently and followed closely behind Lu Ming. Kill! Suddenly, Lu Ming shouted and dashed toward the flock of birds at the entrance of the canyon. At the same time, Zhuobumu also led his people towards the canyon. Ga ga ga. As soon as they moved, the giant birds noticed them and moved as well. They let out sharp cries and pounced on Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming shouted and waved his long spear, killing the big birds. Four Eyes Void Court, Zhuobuju and the others also attacked with all their might, killing those giant birds. However, there were too many giant birds, and it was easier said than done to charge in. However, because of this, Zhuobumu and Four-Eye Kongting also attracted a large number of giant birds. Old Liang now. Lu Ming sent a message to the quantity formula. Watch this old lady. The voice of the measure formula was heard. At the same time, the entire body of the measure formula glowed. A mysterious aura was emitted and enveloped Lu Ming. At first, a few large birds were pouncing on Lu Ming. However, they suddenly sensed the aura of the measure formula. Their eyes were filled with fear and they immediately flew away from Lu Ming. It's really effective. Qingxiang, follow me. Lu Ming pulled Ouyang Qingxiang's hand. The aura of the measure formula followed her hand and covered her entire body. The surrounding big birds also directly bypassed Ouyang Qingxiang and did not pounce on her. When Lu Ming held her hand, Ouyang Qingxiang's delicate body began to tremble and her face turned red. However, the next moment, her beautiful eyes revealed a look of surprise. Because she realized that those big birds actually didn't pounce towards her. They directly bypassed her and pounced towards Four Eyes Void Court and Zhuobuju. Ouyang Qingxiang was extremely shocked. She knew that all of this was because of Lu Ming. Her curiosity about him grew. Let's go! Lu Ming held Ouyang Qingxiang's hand and rushed into the canyon. Not a single big bird stopped him. Damn it! How is that possible? Four Eyes Void Court, Zhuobuju and the rest also discovered Lu Ming's strange behavior. It was simply unbelievable and they roared in anger. Lu Ming, stop right there. You dare to trick me! Four Eyes Void Court and Zhuobuba roared, their killing intent as cold as a knife. You guys have fun, I'm not going to keep you company. Lu Ming smiled indifferently and continued to rush forward with Ouyang Qingxiang. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared from the sight of Four Eye Void Courtyard and the others. Four Eyes Void Court and Zhuobuba roared in anger. Their killing intent was as cold as a blade, but they were helpless. Let's not fight with these giant birds and conserve our strength. We'll surround the area and wait for Lu Ming to come out. I'll be his time of death. Four-eyed Kong Ting said coldly. That's right. That brat dared to trick me. He's simply courting death. Zhuowudi's voice was also extremely cold. Immediately, they stopped fighting with the giant birds and retreated. After they had retreated a certain distance, the giant birds stopped chasing them and flew back to the canyon. Four Eyes Void Court and Zhuobuju led people to guard not far away. They were waiting for Lu Ming to come out and then kill him. After Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang barged into the flock of big birds, their field of vision suddenly widened. There was no big bird in the canyon. Those big birds were just circling the mouth of the canyon and above it. The moment Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang entered, their gazes were deeply attracted. There was a ball of light floating in the air above the valley, emitting a dazzling light. Chapter 2900 Crisis. A ball of light was floating in the valley, emitting a dazzling light. In addition, there was an extremely pure energy constantly spreading out. A star core fragment. Lu Ming's and Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes were burning with desire. This was definitely a star core fragment. They had come to the right place. The two of them couldn't help but get closer to the star core fragment, and finally saw the full appearance of the fragment. It was a crystal the size of a fingernail. Although it was small, the energy it contained was extremely terrifying. It's so small, Lu Ming muttered. Kid, what do you know? A star core is the core of a star. It contains an enormous amount of energy, but it's also extremely pure. It's very easy to absorb and is a peerless treasure. Moreover, the star core here was formed by a man using a large formation. The energy contained in a star core is even more terrifying. Don't underestimate this small piece. It's enough for you to break through to the heavenly god realm. The disdainful voice of the Liang character formula sounded. Then let's start, Lu Ming said. He could not wait any longer. Immediately, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang walked toward the star core fragment. When they arrived at the fragment, the two of them sat cross-legged and began to cultivate by absorbing the energy from the star core. Lu Ming, he'll help you absorb it. I'll help you break through to the celestial god level faster. He recited the measure formula. Then, a powerful suction force erupted. The energy in the star core surged towards Lu Ming continuously and was absorbed by the measure formula. It was transformed into purer energy and surged into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming circulated the universe thousand Tao mantra at full force to absorb and refine this energy. The energy of the star core was extremely pure. Even without the measure formula, it could be refined quickly. With the help of the measure formula, the refining speed was naturally faster. A steady stream of energy was transformed into divine power. Lu Ming's divine power was increasing rapidly. In his dantian, 6 divine flames were burning fiercely, and the flames were getting more and more vigorous. Lu Ming was breaking through to the celestial god level at an alarming speed. On the other side, Ouyang Qingxiang was also circulating her cultivation technique to absorb the energy of the star core fragment. However, her absorption speed was far from comparable to Lu Ming's. Just like that, they cultivated for 7 days. In 7 days, the fingernail-sized fragment had almost been completely absorbed by the two of them, leaving only the size of a speck of dust. Boom! At that moment, a powerful aura erupted from Ouyang Xiangxiang's body. She had broken through and reached the 6th-level celestial deity realm. Ouyang Xiangxiang had only broken through to the 5th-level heavenly god realm not long ago, but she had already reached the 6th-level heavenly god realm. This was all thanks to the star core fragment. However, the energy that Ouyang Qingxiang absorbed was far less than Lu Ming's. At this moment, Lu Ming's aura had also increased to its peak. 6 types of divine powers surged and shone with a dazzling light, circulating continuously on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body was like a volcano that was about to erupt at any moment. Boom! Finally, Lu Ming exploded. A shocking aura erupted from his body, and a powerful pressure filled the air. This was the pressure of a heavenly god. The divine energy that Lu Ming controlled was divine-grade divine energy. He also had 5 other types of divine energy. The energy required for a breakthrough was much more than Ouyang Qingxiang's. At this moment, after absorbing the energy of the star core fragment, Lu Ming finally broke through the bottleneck in one fell swoop and charged into the celestial god realm. As soon as he entered the celestial god realm, Lu Ming's body exuded a powerful suction force. The energy between heaven and earth rushed towards Lu Ming in an even more violent manner. The last star core fragment let out a soft sound and completely shattered. It turned into energy and surged into Lu Ming's body. The moment the star core fragment shattered, the huge birds around the canyon screeched and dispersed. They turned into energy and surged into Lu Ming's body. With 4 empty eyes, Zhuobumu and the others had been waiting outside the canyon, waiting for Lu Ming to come out and kill him. At this moment, they suddenly saw the giant birds scattering one by one, and they were all shocked. What's going on? That's Lu Ming. He's cultivating. Damn it, it must be the star core fragment. Lu Ming absorbed the star core fragment, which caused all those big birds to disperse. Kill him. When Four-Eyed Void Court and the rest saw Lu Ming and Ouyang Xiangxiang, they could easily guess what had happened. They immediately roared angrily, their eyes red with envy, jealousy, and hatred. Kill! Zhuobuhua was the most direct. With a cold shout, a terrifying sword intent burst out. He became one with the sword, turning into a brilliant sword light and slashing toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming had actually absorbed the star core fragment. He wanted to crush Lu Ming's bones and scatter his ashes. The sword light was extremely fast and it was approaching Lu Ming in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming was at the critical moment of his breakthrough and he could not resist at all. In actual fact, the current situation was beyond Lu Ming's expectations. He did not expect that after he absorbed the star core fragment, the huge birds would disperse. Green Lotus Sword Domain, die! Ouyang Qingxiang shouted. Her delicate body emitted a dazzling green sword radiance. Green lotus flowers appeared in front of Lu Ming. Thousands of sword qi slashed at Zhuobuju. Buzz! 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 The sword qi clashed. In an instant, the sword qi from both sides had clashed hundreds of times. After a few hundred hits, the green lotus flower crumbled, and Zhuobuzu's figure was also blocked and stopped. You've made a breakthrough in your cultivation. Zhou Bingxian's expression was unsightly as he stared at Ouyang Qingxiang. It must be a star core fragment. She has also absorbed the energy of a star core fragment. Damn it, damn it. The four-eyed King Kong charged over, his mouth constantly roaring in anger. He was so jealous that he was about to go crazy. In his opinion, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's absorption of the star core fragment was simply a waste of a heavenly treasure. How great would it be if he could absorb the star core fragment? He would definitely be able to break through to the 7th level or even the 8th level of the heavenly deity realm. In that case, he would not have to fear MOG. He could even suppress MOG and become the #1 expert among the younger generation of the unique Demon Academy. However, this hope had been shattered by Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. So what if I've broken through? Zhuo Wudi shouted, and the sword light became even brighter as it charged toward Ouyang Qingxiang. Let's attack together and get rid of this B*Tsich. Then well kill Lu Ming. The four-eye void court roared and attacked as well. Terrifying beams of light shot out from its four eyes and shot toward Ouyang Qingxiang. Green Lotus Sword Domain, Green Lotus Sword Domain. Ouyang Qingxiang shouted again. The divine power in her body was about to burn. She burst out with all her power and set up the Green Lotus Sword Domain around Lu Ming and her. The boundless sword qi gathered into a few huge green lotus flowers, which enveloped the two of them and blocked the attacks from all directions. However, Ouyang Xiangxiang's cultivation had only just broken through to the 6th level heavenly deity realm. She wouldn't even be a match for Four Eyes Void Court or Zhuo Bufu alone, let alone the two of them working together. The moment the two attacks collided, the green lotus trembled violently. Ouyang Qingxiang groaned and her body trembled. She spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. Breaking through to the heavenly god level, Ouyang Qingxiang was sent flying and fell to the ground with a pale face. Lu Ming, Ouyang Xiangxiang gasped with deep worry. You're overestimating yourself. Lu Ming, go to hell. He looked at Lu Ming coldly. For beams of destructive light shot out toward Lu Ming. If he was hit, Lu Ming would die without a doubt. At this moment, Lu Ming's tightly shut eyes suddenly opened. A cold, murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Whoosh, whoosh. Two spear lights burst out from Lu Ming's hands. They were more dazzling than meteors. The spear light shook and the four destructive lights in the four eyes were scattered. A shrill scream reverberated through the entire area. Then, a bloody light burst out, and a figure quickly retreated. This figure was Four-Eyed Kongting. At this moment, Four-Eyed Kongting was roaring madly. His two eyes had disappeared and were replaced by two bloody holes. Two of the Four-Eyed Void's eyes were blinded by Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you're looking for death, you're looking for death. I'm going to tear you into pieces. Kongting's body began swelling up, and he actually turned into a giant worm. This giant worm was more than 100 meters long and was covered in disgusting tentacles. This was the true form of the Four-Eyed Void Court. In fact, many of the Polyeyes' true forms were not from the same race, but a variety of different races. The Four-Eyed Void turned back into its original form and pounced at Lu Ming, unleashing its full strength. Kill! And invest it. Lu Ming said coldly, his body rapidly growing in size as he transformed into a green-armored ancient god. He swept his spear forward, his divine power overwhelming the Four-Eye Void. Boom! Lu Ming had now broken through to the first-tier celestial god, and he was even at the peak of the first-tier celestial god realm. His divine power was much more robust than before. The long spear pressed down, breaking through the Four-Eye Void's attack and defense like a piece of rotten wood, and bombarded his body. The Four-Eyed Void King's huge body was sent flying. A section of his body exploded, and blood and flesh flew everywhere. You're the one who's going to die. Lu Ming's cold voice was heard. He took a step forward and covered 100 miles. His long spear was like a shooting star, piercing towards the Four-Eyed Void. Zhuobuju, quickly come and help me. The Four-Eyed Void beast screamed in horror. At the same time, it unleashed its full strength to resist Lu Ming. Buzz! The sound of a sword rang out. Zhuobuju made his move. The sword radiance was like a flying celestial light, cutting through the void and slashing towards Lu Ming's head. Zhuobumu was not the only one. The other paragons of the unique Devil Academy and the Immortal Sword Sect also made their moves at the same time and launched terrifying killing moves at Lu Ming. Lu Ming snorted coldly. His eyes were icy cold and his left hand emitted a dazzling radiance. He threw a punch at Zhuobuju. The moment he threw the punch, 3 9-clawed divine dragons flew out from Lu Ming's left fist. This was the divine dragon phenomenon. As Lu Ming continued to comprehend the divine dragon materialization art, his understanding became deeper and deeper. When he used it, he was more adept at it. He could condense 3 divine dragon phenomenon with one punch. The 3 divine dragon materialization arts pounced toward Zhuobuhua. Lu Ming ignored the attacks of the other prodigies and allowed them to attack him. Lu Ming's long spear did not stop and continued to stab at the 4-eyed void. The 4-eyed void beast was shocked and furious. It unleashed its full power and set up layers of defenses in front of it. However, when the long spear stabbed down, these defenses shattered continuously. Then, Lu Ming's long spear pierced through the 4-eyed void beast's head and nailed it to the ground. 4-eyed Kong Ting was still alive and was still struggling madly. On the other side, the 3 divine dragons blocked Zhuobuhua's attack while the attacks of the other prodigies landed on Lu Ming. However, they could only barely break through Lu Ming's defense and leave shallow wounds on his body. To Lu Ming, they were no different from tickles. "Ah, Lu Ming, don't kill me, don't kill me," 4-eyes screamed in fear and began to beg for mercy. In actual fact, he was not that weak. If he had fought Lu Ming with all his might, he would not have been crushed so easily. The main reason was that he was caught off guard and Lu Ming had blinded him in both eyes. The eyes of the multi-eyed race were their vital points. Once they were blinded, their strength would be greatly affected. That was why he was easily crushed by Lu Ming. "Die," Lu Ming said coldly. 4-Eye Void Court wanted to kill him at every turn. How could he let 4-Eye Void Court off? Lu Ming shook his spear and a terrifying power burst forth, exploding from 4-Eye Void Court's body. 4-Eye Void Court's body was torn into pieces. Zhuo Wu's pupils rapidly contracted as his figure retreated. "All of you stay," Lu Ming shouted coldly. The long spear swept out with the momentum of sweeping away thousands of troops. A spear light as long as a mountain range swept toward the geniuses of the unique Devil Academy and the Immortal Sword Sect. At the same time, a crescent-shaped spear light burst forth. "Not good. Quickly retreat." The expressions of the geniuses from the unique Devil Academy and the Immortal Sword Sect changed drastically, and they all retreated frantically. However, they were still a step too late. As the spear pressed down, the bodies of a few weaker cultivators exploded. A few of the stronger ones were also sent flying like cannonballs. They crashed into a few mountain peaks and shattered them. They were all seriously injured. Among the crowd, Zhuobuju was in a better position. He continuously struck out with his sword, and the sword light slashed on the crescent-shaped spear light, making a violent roar. Although his sword light also shattered, he used this force to float back 1,000 miles. Only a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. "This person is too terrifying. Let's retreat first." Zhuo did not hesitate at all, turning into a sword light and flying into the distance. "Stay here," Lu Ming shouted and threw the long spear in his hand. The long spear shot out like lightning and shot toward Zhuobuju. Zhuo Wu's expression changed, and thousands of sword lights shot out from his hands, slashing at the spear. Bang bang bang. The spear and the sword light emitted a series of explosions. In the end, all the sword light shattered. The spear light flashed and Zhuobuju let out a blood-curdling scream. His abdomen had been pierced by the spear and blood was flowing out. He didn't dare to stop. Even with his injuries, he used all his strength to run. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared. It's a pity, Lu Ming did not pursue him. Zhuobuju cultivated the sword. Not only was his attack powerful, but his speed was also extremely shocking. Even if Lu Ming wanted to catch up, he might not be able to. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the severely injured geniuses from the unique Devil Academy and the Immortal Sword Sect. The Heaven's favorites' faces turned pale. They were all terrified. "Lu Ming, don't kill us." He shouted. My senior brother Desk has already escaped. If you kill us, the indestructible sword sect will not let you off. The geniuses of the Yimo Academy and the Immortal Sword sect shouted one after another. They were all saint children, and they did not want to die here. I can spare your lives if you swear on your life essence that you will pledge your loyalty to me in the future. Lu Ming said coldly. Chapter 2903 Battle Between Divine Sons. Swear loyalty to you with the source of life? Don't even think about it. A genius from the unique Demon Academy roared angrily. With a flash of the spear, the Heaven's favorite's forehead was pierced and he died on the spot. The other paragons immediately fell silent. If you don't want to, they'll send you on your way immediately. Lu Ming scanned his surroundings. No one said a word. Lu Ming was too ruthless. He had no scruples at all. They had no doubt that if they rejected Lu Ming, they would be killed by him immediately. They'll give you the time of 10 breaths. If you still don't agree after 10 breaths, I can only send you on your way. 10, 9. Lu Ming started to count down. I agree. I also agree. In the end, the paragons of the unique Demon Academy and the Immortal Sword sect all agreed. They then swore on their life source that they would be loyal to Lu Ming in the future. Lu Ming revealed a smile. There were a total of 6 people from the Yimo Academy and the Immortal Sword sect. They were all saints. One should know that there were only 7 saints in the Kong Xian sect. Lu Ming had gained the loyalty of 6 saints at once. Such people would definitely be useful in the future. All right, don't announce our relationship to the public. You are still the holy sons and holy virgins of the unique Devil Academy and the Immortal Sword sect. If I need you in the future, I will naturally contact you. Now go. After Lu Ming finished speaking, he waved his hand and let everyone leave. Yes. The 6 saint-level Heaven's favorites bowed and nodded. Then in a flash they left the place. Lu Ming, you're getting more and more powerful. With your current combat strength, I'm afraid you can fight against the divine sun-level geniuses of the 3 overlord forces. Ouyang Qingxiang walked over with an envious expression. I'm sorry, I absorbed so much energy from the star core fragment. Lu Ming smiled awkwardly. Lu Ming had absorbed 90% of the energy from the star core fragment. The star core fragment was obtained by you. I'm the one who's sorry. I'm already very lucky to have absorbed so much energy and broken through 1 level. Ouyang Xiangxiang smiled. This planet is the closest to the star. There might be other star core fragments. Let's go and look again, Lu Ming said. After coming to an agreement, Lu Ming put away the storage rings of 4 Eyes Void Court and the others, then left the place with Ouyang Qingxiang. However, their luck seemed to have run out, or perhaps there was only 1 star core fragment on this planet. In the next 5 or 6 days, they didn't find a second star core fragment, nor did they find any array plates. However, they had obtained quite a lot of precious metals. Lu Ming kept them without any hesitation. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, a violent explosion came from one direction, and at the same time, a terrifying force spread in this direction. This is the fluctuation of divine power. There's a battle in that direction, Ouyang Qingxiang said. With such shocking fluctuations, the person fighting must be very strong. Let's go and take a look. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. The 2 of them concealed their auras and headed in that direction. They had advanced for at least 10,000 miles, and the fluctuations in front of them were getting more and more intense. Looking ahead, he saw 3 figures entangled together, attacking and fighting each other. The fact that the shockwaves from the 3's fight could travel so far showed how powerful they were. Divine-grade divine power. It's them. Mo-Jui. Boundless Sword Dao. Ashen Flames Army Destroyer. Ouyang Xiangxiang's eyes widened in shock. Lu Ming's gaze also froze. The 3 people fighting at the front were Mo-Jui, Sword Dao Wuji, and Serpentine Army Breaker, the 3 deity-level characters. However, the 3 of them clearly did not use their full strength. They should have held back, so the battle was difficult to determine. Below the 3 of them were other Heaven's favorites from the 3 overlord forces. In front of these people, there was a stone tower with 9 floors and a closed door. Emoji, Sword Dao Wuji, and Sangyen Pajun must have fought because of this stone pagoda. The three of them exchanged dozens of moves in a row, then retreated and confronted each other from a distance. You too, anyone who sees it will have a share. How about the 3 of us enter this stone tower together? Sword Dao Wuji's long hair fluttered in the wind, and his sword Qi soared into the sky like a sharp divine sword. You sure know how to take advantage of the situation. I was the one who found this stone pagoda first. Die. Emoji shouted coldly. His entire body was shrouded in black light, as if he was in the dark of night. So what if you discovered it first? You can't even break through the stone pagoda's door by yourself. What's the use? In my opinion, we should attack together and break through the stone pagoda's door. We can enter together and fight for the treasures inside with our own abilities. This is the fairest way. Sangyen Pajuan shouted. His entire body was covered in red armor and his body was covered in flames. The terrifying heat even distorted the space. It was rumored that Sangyen Pajuan had the blood of the Scarlet Flame tribe, but no one knew if it was true. I agree with Brother Sangyen's suggestion. The Sword Dao Wuji Dao. Emoji's expression was ugly, but he was helpless against Sword Dao Infinitum and Azure Flame breaks the ranks. Neither Sword Dao Limitless nor Blue Flame Breaking Army was any weaker than him. Well, it's decided then. But before that, it seems that 2 uninvited guests have arrived. When Sangyen Pajuan finished speaking, he looked in the direction of Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. At the same time, Emoji and Sword Dao Wuji also looked over with cold eyes. Lu Ming smiled faintly. The divine sons had unfathomable means. It was normal for them to notice them. Let's go out and meet the divine child-level people. Lu Ming smiled. Since he had been discovered, there was no need to hide. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang walked out side by side. Brat, it's you. The moment he saw Lu Ming, Emoji's eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. An icy aura enveloped Lu Ming. He had come to this planet because he was chasing after Lu Ming. He did not expect Lu Ming to escape. Now that he saw Lu Ming, his killing intent was extremely strong. Lu Ming swept his gaze around but did not see Zhuobuju. It seemed that Zhuobuju had not met with Sword Dao Wuji and the others. Naturally, Emoji did not know that Lu Ming had killed Four Eyes Void Court. Lu Ming of the Kong Xian sect, hee. Sword Dao Wuji also sneered, and the sword intent on his body became extremely cold. In the world of ancient gods, Lu Ming had killed a holy son of the inextinguishable sword sect. Therefore, Lu Ming was also on his must-kill list. So what if it's me? Lu Ming smiled and strode forward. He looked calm and fearless. Very good, you still dare to come out. You're seeking death. They'll send you on your way now. Emoji's expression was ferocious as he stepped forward. The black light all over his body condensed into a huge pitch-black hand and grabbed at Lu Ming. Chapter 2904 Great Battle Against Emoji. Lu Ming snorted coldly. He did not retreat at all. He instantly activated the fourfold combat power of the battle character formula and executed the second move of the 3 apocalyptic strikes. He struck down with his spear. Boom! The crescent-shaped spear light struck Emoji's huge black hand. A terrifying collision occurred between the two and the force spread in all directions. Boom! 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 The crescent-shaped spear radiance shook continuously and finally exploded. Lu Ming's body swayed and he retreated 6 to 7 steps. However, Emoji's condensed claw was also split in half. What? Emoji's eyes narrowed in surprise. He did not expect Lu Ming to be able to block his move. Even though he had just casually used that move, its power was still shocking. Lu Ming had not even used his ancient god body, and he had managed to block the move. This made him look serious. On the side, Sword Dao Wuji and Sangyen Pajun's expressions also changed. Clearly, Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded their expectations. So you've already broken through to the heavenly god realm. But do you think that you can fight me just because you've broken through? I'll let you know the difference between us. Emoji's eyes were cold as more black light emanated from his body, turning the area within 10,000 meters of him into night. It was pure night, a night without any light. Kill, die! Emoji shouted coldly. In a flash, he charged towards Lu Ming like a ghost. The darkness around him spread rapidly and enveloped Lu Ming. Once Lu Ming was enveloped, he felt as if he had entered a bottomless abyss. His surroundings were silent. There was no sound or light. All of a sudden, there was a violent tearing sound in the air from all directions. Pairs of pitch-black sharp claws suddenly appeared and clawed at Lu Ming. These sharp claws were like pairs of ghost claws, emitting a disgusting smell. Break the air. Lu Ming's divine power surged and he used the sky-piercing move. The spear's gleam was like a meteor, piercing towards the sharp claws and crushing them. However, as soon as the sharp claws were destroyed, they would immediately condense again and grab Lu Ming. Ice chains. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. 9 ice chains flew out of his body. Each of them was tens of thousands of meters long. They wrapped around the claws and bound them. The power of the ice shackles had increased with Lu Ming's breakthrough to the celestial god realm. It had become extremely shocking. The terrifying chill sealed all the ghost claws in ice before they exploded. Lu Ming, you're quite capable. However, let's see how long you can last in my eternal night cage. 9-armed demon king, come out. Emoji's voice rang out in the dark night. Following that, a series of roars were heard. Then, 3 huge creatures appeared in the dark night. The 3 huge creatures were covered in scales. They had wide mouths and fangs, and they actually had 9 arms. They looked like demons that had walked out of the abyss. This was the 9-armed demon king that Emoji had mentioned. Each of the 9-armed demon king's arms held a weapon. It roared and charged at Lu Ming. Lu Ming cast the divine dragon materialization art. 3 9-clawed divine dragons pounced out. At the same time, he brandished his spear and charged forward. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. The 3-headed 9-armed demon king brandished its 9 weapons and slashed continuously. The 3 9-clawed divine dragons were the first to bear the brunt of the attack, and they were forced to retreat continuously, with holes appearing on their bodies. At this moment, Lu Ming's attack had arrived. The long spear and 9-armed demon king's weapon collided. Clang, clang. There was a terrifying explosion, but Lu Ming's expression changed. He could feel that the 9-armed demon king's power was shockingly strong. He could not withstand it at all. His body shook violently and he retreated continuously, almost spurting out a mouthful of blood. The 3 9-armed demon kings charged at Lu Ming from 3 different directions. Lu Ming, show me your ancient god body. Let me see how strong you are. Emoji's voice sounded again. Since you want to see it, I'll grant your wish. Let's go, Lu Ming said. He used the ancient god tactic. His body collided with the green-armored ancient god, and he became a green-armored ancient god hundreds of meters tall. Once he turned into a green-armored ancient god, Lu Ming's strength skyrocketed. He brandished his spear, shooting out rays of spear light at the 3-headed 9-armed demon king. The 9-armed demon king also brandished his weapon and attacked. However, in this collision, the 9-armed demon king was completely outmatched and was forced to retreat by Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming stared at one of the 9-armed demon kings and charged at it. His attacks were like a storm, attacking the 9-armed demon king. Bang! The 9-armed demon king barely managed to block a few moves before Lu Ming's long spear struck its head. The 9-armed demon king's head exploded, followed by its entire body. After defeating one of the 9-armed demon kings, Lu Ming went after the other 2. Not long after, the remaining 2 9-armed demon kings were defeated. You have some strength. Also, in my eternal night cage, I am the master. Ha! Emoji laughed out loud. The dark night rolled and another 9-armed demon king walked out. This time, there were 9 9-armed demon kings, roaring and charging at Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming, who had transformed into a green-armored ancient god, was extremely powerful. After fighting with the 9-headed and 9-armed demon king, he defeated it. I'll break your eternal night cage. Lu Ming shouted, and the long spear in his hand enlarged rapidly. A shocking spear radiance soared into the sky as if it could pierce through the sky. Boom. The area that Mo Juri's eternal night cage could cover was limited. The spear radiance pierced through the air and created a hole in the dark night, allowing the light from the outside to enter. Under the light, Mo Juri's eternal night cage was like ice and snow meeting fire. It melted and disappeared. As the night disappeared, Lu Ming and Mo Juri's figures were revealed. This is the green-armored ancient god body. Lu Ming has actually cultivated the green-armored ancient god body. Seeing Lu Ming's current state, Sword Dao Limitless and Grey Flame Army Breaker were shocked. He even managed to break Mo Juri's eternal night cage. His strength is truly shocking. He's only a first-level celestial deity. How can he possibly have such powerful battle strength? Sword Dao Infinitum and Ashen Flame's Break Army spoke one after another with grave expressions. In their hearts, they had already regarded Lu Ming as an opponent of the same level. They were old rivals with Mo Juri, so they naturally knew how terrifying his secret skill was. Even for them, it was extremely difficult to break out of it. As for the other geniuses of the three overlord forces, they were completely stunned. Emoji, the divine son of the Yimo Academy, stood at the peak of the younger generation in the Qintian galaxy. There was almost no one who could be his opponent. There were only a few people in the entire Qintian galaxy who could be his opponent. Lu Ming was actually able to fight against Mo Juri. This was simply unbelievable. Mo Juri, is this your full strength? I heard you've also cultivated an ancient god body. Show me, or you won't be my match. Lu Ming said loudly. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. The clash of ancient god bodies. Since you want to experience it, I'll fulfill your wish. Mo Juri's face was gloomy. With a loud shout, his body swelled rapidly and he turned into an ancient god. And NBSP, however, the ancient god body he had transformed into had orange scales. His orange-armored ancient god body and height were much shorter than Lu Ming's. However, Mo Juri's cultivation was too high. He was a 6th-level celestial deity, much stronger than Lu Ming. With the support of his powerful cultivation, his power was extremely terrifying. Boom! Mo Juri took a step forward and his huge body rushed towards Lu Ming. A huge black demonic blade appeared in his hand and he slashed at Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming shouted and rushed towards Mo Juri. Boom! 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 The two of them fought intensely and launched fierce attacks. This was the most direct collision, and it was extremely intense. It was like two giants were suddenly fighting each other. During this period, the two of them used all kinds of means. Lu Ming continuously cast the Ice Chain, the Divine Dragon Materialization Technique, and the 3 Apocalyptic Strikes. Mo Juri also used all sorts of terrifying secret skills and divine skills. One had to admit that Mo Juri's combat strength was extremely strong. The two of them fought for hundreds of moves, but it was still difficult to determine the winner. The divine power that Mo Juri controlled was divine-grade divine power. Furthermore, the divine skills and secret skills that he cultivated were also very powerful and were not any weaker than Lu Ming's. Moreover, his cultivation was 5 levels higher than Lu Ming's. This was the 5th level of the celestial deity realm. The gap was truly shocking. Lu Ming's advantage was the Universe Thousand Dao Mantra. He had cultivated 6 divine flames and his body was filled with 6 types of divine power. However, other than the ruler's divine power, 2 of Lu Ming's other 5 types of divine power were divine-grade divine power while the other 3 were king-grade divine power. The difference between the sacred-grade divine power and the king-grade divine power was too great. Even if there were 5 types combined, the difference would not be too great. Lu Ming estimated that his current level of divine power was barely comparable to Mo Juri, who was a 3rd-level celestial god, or even worse. Lu Ming's other advantage was that his battle formula had quadrupled combat power and his green-armored ancient god body. With all these advantages combined, he would be able to fight against Mo Juri in terms of combat power. The two of them were evenly matched, and in the blink of an eye, hundreds of moves had been exchanged. Terrifying. Why is Lu Ming so terrifying? This is heaven-defying. I've never even heard of his name before. I can't believe he's this strong. The Kongxian sect actually has such a genius. The heavens are going to change in the future. The other geniuses of the three overlord forces couldn't calm down. Even Sword Dao Wuji and Sangyan Pejun's faces were very serious. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. This was especially so for Wuji, whose body was constantly emitting the sound of a sword. He was like a divine sword, and his sword intense soared to the sky, ready to attack at any time. However, he still held back. After all, he was a divine son. If he attacked Lu Ming together with Emojuri, he would lose face. Boom, boom. Lu Ming and Emojuri's battle continued, and the more they fought, the more tragic it became. Emojuri's saber light landed on Lu Ming's body. The green scales flew in the air and deep wounds appeared on Lu Ming's body. However, at the same time, Lu Ming's long spear also struck Emojuri's body. Emojuri staggered and a large piece of his body exploded. Blood and flesh flew everywhere. It was a terrible sight. However, the two of them had no intention of stopping. They were still fighting fiercely, and their fighting spirit was getting stronger and stronger. The others held their breaths and watched with widened eyes. They wanted to see who would win between Lu Ming and Emojuri. Lu Ming brandished his long spear like a dragon. He performed the first and second forms of the three apocalyptic strikes in succession. This was also due to the support of the quantity formula, where Shen power was endless. Otherwise, it would have been very difficult to support. It was only with so many conditions that Lu Ming was able to unleash such powerful combat abilities. Otherwise, it was impossible for a first-level celestial deity to have such combat abilities. Although Emojuri was only a 6th-level celestial deity, his combat strength was enough to kill an ordinary 8th-level celestial deity. He could even fight a 9th-level celestial deity. In other words, Lu Ming was only at the 1st-level celestial deity realm, but he could fight a 9th-level celestial deity. This was simply a miracle. 3 apocalyptic strikes, 3 apocalyptic strikes. Since the start of the war, Lu Ming's mind was unusually calm. He was enjoying the war and absorbing experience from it. His understanding of the 3 apocalyptic strikes was getting deeper and deeper. He had a feeling that the 3 apocalyptic strikes were about to break through. He had been cultivating the 3 apocalyptic strikes to the peak of the 6th stage for a long time. After such a long period of tempering, his understanding of the 3 apocalyptic strikes had become very deep. After the intense battle with Emoji, he really had a feeling that he was about to break through. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of moves. Buzz. All of a sudden, Lu Ming brandished his long spear. The long spear vibrated and a crescent-shaped spear light slashed out. Its power was much stronger than before. He had broken through. At this moment, the 3 apocalyptic strikes had broken through to the 7th level. Every time a divine skill was broken through, its power would increase greatly. The crescent-shaped spear radiance clashed with Emojuri's saber radiance, causing it to shake violently. How is that possible? Emojuri's expression changed drastically, revealing a look of disbelief. At this critical moment, how could Lu Ming's attack power increase again? Bang! Emojuri's body trembled and he took a few steps back before he could stabilize himself. Again. Lu Ming laughed heartily. He kept brandishing his long spear. The breakthrough of the 3 apocalyptic strikes had made it easier for him to cast them. Moreover, he had broken through to the 7th stage of the 3 apocalyptic strikes and could already cast the 3rd move. Of course, it would take time to cultivate. Lu Ming had not cultivated and naturally could not cast it. However, the power of the first move, Sky Piercing, and the second move, Moon Cutting, had also been greatly improved. Bang! Bang! The situation had completely changed. Lu Ming's attack power had suddenly increased and he had completely suppressed Emoji. Emoji bellowed continuously and tried his best, but he was still no match for Lu Ming. He was forced to retreat, and for a moment he could only defend himself but not fight back. Originally, his combat strength was on par with Lu Ming's. Now that Lu Ming's divine skill had a breakthrough, the balance was tilted. This Lu Ming has such a terrifying talent. He actually managed to break through to the divine skill in the middle of a great battle. Boundless Sword Dao's eyes flashed with a hint of shock. Of course, such talent is shocking. Songyan Pejuan licked his lips, his eyes filled with shock and battle intent. They were also peerless geniuses. However, it was their first time meeting someone like Lu Ming. Such a person cannot be left alive. Otherwise, there will be no place for us in the Qin Heaven Star region in the future. Sword Dao Wujia's eyes flashed with a shocking cold light. Boundless Sword Dao, do you want to join forces with Mo Jui? I can't do such a thing. If we want to fight, we have to fight fair and square. Songyan Pejuan said disdainfully. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.